Chapter 529. Thank her for me. Also, don't tell your grandfather. Aunt Lin threatened Lin Muan. Lin Muan chuckled. I'm not in the Lin family now. I don't have the chance to see that old man. You don't have to worry. Aunt Lin wanted to say something more, but when she saw Lin Mu and had disappeared from the door, she did not ask him to stay. She thought that Lu Qianqian would use this incident to get her support. Unexpectedly, Lu Qianqian did not think that much. Of course, it was possible that this was another trick of Lu Qianqian's. In the private room, Mu Qiqi and Lu Qianqian continued to eat. When Lin Muan saw his fiancée, he sat down beside her like a loyal dog. Where's your aunt? Let her go home by herself. Otherwise, she will think too much and think that you have some scheme. After Lin Muan answered, he patted Lu Qianqian's head. How do you know my aunt? I've seen your family's photo. Lu Qianqian rolled her eyes. This is the difference between men and women. Women know how to love me and my dog. Then am I bad to mom? Ahem, Mu Qiqi coughed. If you want to flirt, can I invite you to go home? They looked at each other and then turned to Mu Qiqi. You're a famous person in Jianchuan now. I have to see you a few more times before you graduate. Otherwise, I won't be able to get your autograph when you graduate and start working. That's right. That's true. Mu Qiqi replied without hesitation. So, do you really come into contact with all kinds of corpses every day? Aren't you afraid? Mu Qiqi ate her dessert and looked up at Lu Qianqian. It depends on what kind of corpse it is. Decomposed, rotten, or maggots crawling all over it. When Lu Qianqian heard that, her scalp went numb. Don't say it. I've never been scared. Only a case last time. I was so scared that I got sick for a day. Lu Qianqian quickly covered her ears. If you say it again, I won't be able to eat anymore. As my friend, you have to get used to it. After all, my hands. Lu Qianqian subconsciously looked at Mu Qiqi's hand and immediately imagined her holding a scalpel. Xiaoqi, stop teasing her. I don't think she'll be able to sleep tonight. It's your birthday the day after tomorrow. How are you going to celebrate it? Mu Qiqi glanced at him and answered, Get married abroad. Are you so anxious to get married? Nonsense. Mu Qiqi said matter-of-factly. Of course, she would not say that her man was anxious. I'll congratulate you in advance then. Lu Qianqian finally managed to ignore Mu Qiqi's hands and shifted her attention to her face. Actually, I'm quite envious of you. You're too. No, I mean Sheng Xiao. He dotes on you so much. You don't have the so-called mother-in-law and daughter-in-law problem. The whole family dotes on you. Even when you're in a rich family, you can be yourself wholeheartedly. Don't you also have a Mr. Right who will follow you through life and death? Mu Qiqi did not think that she was really envious. Everyone had their own fate and choices. After the three of them had dinner, Mu Qiqi received a call from her man. He was going to Zhongting to accompany him to work. Lin Muan also planned to send Lu Qianqian to the company. However, when Lu Qianqian entered the company, she was stopped by her third uncle. Qianqian, you have to help me. If you don't, I'm dead meat. What's the matter? Lu Qianqian pulled him up and asked the secretary to help him to his seat. Can you lend me 30 million yuan? Lu Qianqian was stunned. Although she was mentally prepared, she was still shocked when she heard the figure from this man's mouth. What do you want 30 million yuan for? Don't ask me why. I'm just asking you, are you willing to lend it to me? The uncle's expression was very anxious, and he looked very embarrassed. It seemed that he did not go home last night. 30 million yuan is not a small amount. I've just become the chairman of Lu Holdings. Where do you want me to transfer the money to you in such a short time? Lu Qianqian asked him. Qianqian, if you don't lend it to me, I can only chop my hand off. You don't want me to live a life worse than death, do you? Gambling debt. Lu Qianqian guessed it immediately. Third uncle took a deep breath and finally nodded. Yes, gambling debt. I don't expect you to pay me back the 30 million yuan. But I want your shares as collateral, Lu Qianqian said seriously. A gambler will do it again after the first time. I don't want you to treat me as your cash cow. If you want 30 million yuan, I'll give you 30 million yuan. If you agree, I'm ready to give you the money. If you don't, you can only find someone else. After all, I remember clearly what you and the other uncles did to me when my father passed away. I'm not the one who put the snake in your room. That's not important, Lu Qianqian said seriously. Do you agree or not? The uncle gritted his teeth and got up from the sofa. You're taking advantage of me. I won't fall for it. I didn't expect you to be so arrogant after becoming the chairman. Just you wait. I'll sell it to someone else but not to you. You mean you don't want the 30 million yuan, right? Lu Qianqian's voice became cold. I don't want it. After saying that, the uncle rushed out of the door. He was probably going to look for his next target. Lu Qianqian took a deep breath and said to the secretary, send someone to follow him. If anything happens, call the police immediately. Yes, Chairman. Although she had no feelings for these uncles, they were her father's blood relatives. It was unreasonable for her not to care about them at all. But she had just started working. How could she be controlled by these uncles? If this happened and the other uncles did the same thing next time, how could she manage the entire Lu Enterprises? Of course, Lu Qianqian knew that these uncles were not easy to deal with. She had to be prepared to deal with them for a long time. Sometimes she felt very tired. But because of these people, she constantly reminded herself that since she was sitting in this position, she must be extra serious. After returning to the office, Lu Qianqian sat on the office chair and thought about the whole incident. Then she told the secretary, prepare the best wedding gift for me. I want to give it to my best friend. Then does she need anything? Forget it. I'll choose it myself. You can help me. Mu Qiqi did not lack anything. The only thing she lacked was kindness. Chapter 530. Soon Mu Qiqi arrived at Zhongting. Seeing that her man was about to leave with his team, she approached him and asked, are you going out for business? Why did you ask me to come? The people from Su Holdings have arrived. Fourth sister is in her office, and you haven't seen her for a long time. Go in and talk to her. You want to work with Su Holdings? Sheng Xiao did not deny it, and promptly led his team to the meeting room. Mu Qiqi did not ask anything, and simply pushed the door open and entered Sheng Xiao's office. Sheng Minglan had not seen Mu Qiqi for a long time, and smiled warmly when she saw her. You are now a celebrity in our family. Fourth sister, are you going to mock me too? I didn't really help much in this case. It's only because of my identity that I caused such a stir. You know that. Mu Qiqi sat down beside Sheng Minglan. Is Jingyan here too? Yes. He's leading Su Holdings' team. I'm suddenly curious what kind of sparks would fly between them if they stand on different sides. Isn't that simple? We'll know when we peak. Mu Qiqi smiled. Sheng Xiao had always been successful in the business world, but half of the credit went to Jingyan. Now that they had been separated for half a year, Sheng Xiao's working ability was still as astonishing as ever. And Jingyan would certainly not lose out to him. It would definitely be exciting if they were to get together and talk about a partnership. So the two family members secretly opened the door of the office. Sheng Xiao saw it at once, and so did the secretary. She was about to walk over, but Sheng Xiao stopped her. The secretary smiled and told Sheng Xiao, I'm going to get chairs for the two ladies. After all, Sheng Xiao had once said that Mu Qiqi came first in everything. No matter how stupid the secretary was, she would never not know that she was his CEO's favorite. And since she was his favorite, he certainly had to serve her well. Go. Soon. The two ladies entered the meeting room openly and sat in an inconspicuous corner. Meanwhile, Sheng Xiao was sitting at the head of the table, while Jingyan sat on the other side. It was a representation of their position and position. Although Su Enterprise is a large enterprise, it hasn't been long since we returned to Jianchuan. If you can't come up with the best plan to convince me, then I won't give you face just because we're old acquaintances. Jingyan smiled and had his secretary put the documents in front of Sheng Xiao. I've already looked through the information. Although it's 9 out of 10, it's still not perfect for me. I'm all ears, Jingyan said. The higher-ups of Zhongting and Su Holdings sat on both sides of the table. They had thought that the meeting would be more relaxed since everyone knew Jingyan's previous identity. She did not expect Sheng Xiao to be so strict. There are 3 things that Su Holdings wants to work with Zhongting on. First, Zhongting announced at the charity banquet. Su Holdings wants to jointly fund the 10-year school construction project with Zhongting. You will be responsible for the construction of the school's medical facilities. What makes you think that I will agree to it? After all, there's no profit involved, and I would have to waste my manpower to contact Su Holdings. Secondly, Su Holdings is in the medical field, and I want to set up a special research institute. On this point, we coincidentally have the same goal. Your goal is to open up a channel for the military, and I want you to provide technology and talents. This sounds like a win-win situation. But what if you manage to open up a channel for the military and bypass me to negotiate with them? Wouldn't I be nurturing a tiger? Third, there are so many medical companies out there, and you don't have enough of an advantage. I could choose Su Holdings or someone else. What do you think, Chief Su? Mu Chichi looked at her man. So, this man was so indifferent when he was on the negotiating table. Even Jing Yin of the past would not give way. Of course, you would be underestimating Jing Yin if you think that would stump him. As Chief Sheng said, firstly, we want to be responsible for the construction of the school's medical facilities and achieve a win-win situation with Zhongting. That's why we are not implicated in terms of profit. Of course, Zhongting does not need such an extra step now that it has grown so much. But Su Holdings does not need to use Su Holdings' name for the medical facilities, and Zhongting can enjoy that reputation alone. Secondly, the talents needed to establish a special research center are the best, and the technology is exclusive to Su Holdings. Shouldn't Chief Shing be happy to enjoy such a huge discount just by being a middleman? After all, I could find another way without you. Thirdly, it's true that Su Holdings does not have any advantage except for their deep pockets. But Su Holdings' greatest potential is not the cutting-edge research center, but me. Mu Chichi breathed a sigh of relief at Jing Yun's words. It's really exciting to see the two of them go back and forth. I'm shocked too, Sheng Minglan said. Still, from their point of view, it does seem that they should go head-to-head like this. Then who do you think won and who lost? On the surface, it looks like they are evenly matched, but the truth is that eighth brother won. Jing Yin is a little shameless, especially the last one, Sheng Minglan said with a smile. He was so arrogant because he was sure that eighth brother would give in. Chief Su has said so much. Does anyone else have anything to say? Sheng Xiao asked everyone in the room in a businesslike manner. What else could the others have to say when both of them had put it that way? If that's the case, Su Holdings should come up with a more detailed document and arrange for someone else to come and sign it. I hope you won't disappoint me, Chief Su. Now that Zhongting held the Lu family shares and was working with Su Holdings, its position in Jianchuan was like the sun at high noon. He believed that in the near future, the established companies such as Huang Yao would have to step aside. I'll come again the day after tomorrow and talk to you personally, Chief Sheng. Sheng Xiao glanced at Mu Chichi and answered Jing Yun. I won't be around that day. You can talk to the vice president directly. It's your birthday, isn't it? Sheng Minglan remembered. Eighth brother wants to celebrate with you? We're actually planning to go abroad for registration. Mu Chichi replied. An old man approaching his 30s doesn't have a sense of security and is in a hurry to turn me into his cheap wife. Sheng Minglan smiled at that. That's a good thing. Eighth brother dotes on you. And I heard from Jing Yun that half of the reason eighth brother wants to set up that research institute is because you're a forensic doctor. Xiao Qi, eighth brother would only be complete with you by his side. I'm really happy for both of you. Perhaps his greatest wish is for you to live happily and freely for the rest of your life. Chapter 531. Following Mu Chichi's gaze, Sheng Minglan saw the adoration and gentleness in her eyes. Soon, the two men came to their own women. Sheng Xiao extended a hand to Mu Chichi. Let's go. Congratulations, Sheng Minglan said, leaning into his arms. Sheng Minglan leaned into Jing Yun's embrace and told them, you must inform them about the wedding as soon as possible. That's true. It's still too early. Mu Chichi blushed and glanced at Sheng Xiao. Then we'll go back first. We'll find a chance to have a good chat when you're back. Mu Chichi nodded and saw Jing Yun and Mu Chichi off Zhongting. Seeing that her man had returned to his post, Mu Chichi propped her hands on the table and asked, I thought I could have dinner with fourth sister and Sheng Xiao tonight. Fourth sister is in a hurry to go to the hospital for a checkup. Sheng Xiao answered without looking up. Pregnant? Mu Qiqi guessed. Probably. That's great news. With that, Mu Qiqi walked around the table and sat on Sheng Xiao's lap. Talk to me for a while. How am I supposed to work when you're like this? You called me here and you still want to work. Mu Qiqi deliberately rubbed against his leg. You used to be a flirt, but you've become a flirt after half a year. Sheng Xiao could not stand her moving around, so he pressed her down on the table and leaned over to kiss her. If you don't behave, I'll teach you a lesson and make you cry. How do you want to teach me a lesson? Mu Qiqi deliberately rubbed his lips with her fingertips. Sheng Xiao did not say anything else, and simply helped her up and walked to his own lounge. Although we've been together for so long, I've never seen you talk business with anyone. If I knew you were so charming, I would have gone out with you more often. Sheng Xiao leaned forward at that. Little one, did you smear honey on your lips? Just think of it as me. Man, I want it. Mu Qiqi was unbelievably proactive today. She directly reached out and grabbed Sheng Xiao's shirt, pulling him closer to her. You're asking for it. After Sheng Xiao said that, flirtatious sounds soon came from the lounge. When the secretary knocked on the door and got no response, he knew that his CEO must be making out with Madam, so he did not disturb him. After all, as long as Mu Qiqi was around, the strict man would become so soft that he was not himself. When the two of them came out of the lounge, it was already 3 hours later. Mu Qiqi slept in Sheng Xiao's arms, and Sheng Xiao carried her out and left Zhongting. In the evening, the lights of the Lu mansion was already lit. Lu Qianqian's family was having dinner at the dining table, and the atmosphere was natural and warm. I think I'll be going back to the police academy in 2 days. During the meal, Lin Muan suddenly said, I'm almost done resting. I don't want to delay the school any longer. Mu's Qianqian said. Qian. Mu. Qian. Lin Qianqian said. I said. Lu Mu Qian Mu. Lu Xiaomu said. You deserve it. Go back if you want to. Lu Qianqian rolled her eyes. She stopped him from going back, because she felt sorry for him. Who would care if it was another man? Lin Muan chuckled. Just as he was about to comfort his woman, Mama Lu suddenly screamed, and immediately stood up from the dining table. Lu Qianqian's third uncle rushed into the living room, covered in blood. Mama Lu paled in fright. Qianqian, save me. Save me. Lu Qianqian looked closely, and found that her third uncle's left hand was gone. Blood was flowing out of the wound. Lin Muan quickly shielded the mother and daughter, and shouted at the bodyguards. What are you doing? Don't you know when you let him in? The bodyguards rushed forward and held the man's body, but blood was everywhere. Qian, you have to save me. They really cut off my hand. Qian. Mom, go back to your room. I'll take care of this. Lu Qianqian quickly pushed Mama Lu into the room. Can you do it? Mama Lu was a little dizzy. Muan is here. The bodyguards are here too. It'll be fine. Lu Qianqian quickly comforted her mother. After Mama Lu left, Lu Qianqian went to get the first aid box. We have to stop the bleeding first. Otherwise, the consequences will be unimaginable if he loses too much blood. Give them the box. They know how to do it. Lin Mu, and reminded Lu Qianqian to pass the box to the bodyguards. Young Master Lin, we didn't let him in on purpose. He has the key. The debt collectors are outside now. We stopped them just now. After listening to the bodyguards, Lin Muan walked to the window and looked downstairs. He saw 10 men in black with all kinds of weapons in their hands. How did these people get in? Lu Qianqian was puzzled. Look at them. Even the security guards don't dare to stop them, Lin Muan replied. Don't worry. The police will be here soon. Qianqian, save me. They will really kill me. Save me. Lu Qianqian looked at her third uncle. He looked so ferocious and bloody. She really couldn't calm down. Lin Muan saw this and quickly said to her, Go in and accompany Mom. I'll take care of this. Can you? Are you looking down on your man? After saying that, Lin Muan pushed Lu Qianqian into the room. Lin Muan still didn't know that his third uncle had already looked for Lu Qianqian. He just squatted in front of him and said, Calm down first. You're safe for now. I won't be safe. These people won't leave until they get 30 million yuan. Niece son-in-law, help me. Let's call the police. What a joke. 30 million yuan. When Qianqian was in trouble, this group of uncles had many ideas about Qianqian. Now that they were in trouble, they only knew to come here. No, you can't call the police. You can't. If he called the police, then the police would find out about their gambling. Then they would kill him. I cannot call the police. But you must calm down and get treatment first. Son-in-law, I beg you. Give them 30 million yuan. Otherwise they might really kill me. I beg you. Let them bandage your wound first. I'll go in and discuss with Qianqian. After saying that, Lin Mu and signaled the bodyguards to keep a close eye on him. He didn't want to make any mistakes. He also didn't want this man to scare the mother and daughter in the room. Then, Lin Muan got up and entered the room where the mother and daughter were. How is it? He wants 30 million yuan. He already came to me once during the day. I asked him to use his shares as collateral, but he didn't agree. Lu Qianqian said to Lin Muan. Gambling will happen again if it happens once. How can I give it to him for nothing? Chapter 532. But what do we do now? Lu Qianqian was also shocked by the bloody scene just now. Don't you think it's strange that he has the key to the Lu family? Lin Muan asked in return. He said he didn't release the snake. Lin Muan glanced at Lu Qianqian, and then turned to Mama Lu. Mommy, please call the other uncles. Since he is a member of the Lu family, I can't let you and your mother face him alone. After all, he is still their biological brother. He is closer than you two. Mama Lu's eyes lit up. Okay. Mama Lu nodded. What about outside now? The police are coming. Those people won't stay long. Third uncle, on the other hand, is emotionally unstable. He might be pretending to be crazy. I'll go out and deal with him. You and your daughter stay here until the other uncles come. Lu Qianqian grabbed Lin Muan's arm. Will you be okay? Don't worry. Since I'm the only man in the family, I'll certainly protect you. With that, Lin Muan patted Lu Qianqian's head and went out. In the living room, third uncle of the Lu family had calmed down a little. He was sitting on the sofa covered in blood, but he still looked terrified like a bird startled by the mere twang of a bough. How is it? What did Qianqian say? Don't panic. The people downstairs have left. Lin Muan said. Qianqian is making a call to see where she can get $30 million. Can you tell me why you have the key to the Lu family, third uncle? It's not just me. The other uncles of the Lu family all have it. Third uncle said. I really didn't release the snake. It's the youngest. What a despicable way to deal with two women. Lin Muan snorted. Third uncle thought that Lu Qianqian was really raising money for him. But he didn't know that the other uncles came quickly after hearing the news. They entered the Lu family's house one after another, which made third uncle very embarrassed. Why didn't you inform them? They are your brothers. Shouldn't you inform them when you've done something bad? Are you trying to bully Qianqian and her daughter just because they are women? The others were also a little uncomfortable when they saw the blood on the floor. Before they sat down, they thought that this man had come to Lu Qianqian's house to commit murder. Then, Lu Qianqian and her mother came out of the room, and they breathed a sigh of relief. If there was any big news, it would not be good for Lu Enterprises. The reason why I called you over at this time is that I need to discuss with you about third uncle's debt of 30 million yuan. Lu Qianqian explained to the puzzled people. Third uncle wants us to save him. Do you have any objections? No, third bro likes to gamble. What does that have to do with us? Second bro said. If he's being chased after, do we have to clean up his mess? Second uncle, you saw it too. Third uncle's hand is gone. As his brother, are you really going to leave him to die? You are the chairman of Lu Enterprises. How can I be in charge of this matter? Now you recognize me as the chairman. Lu Qianqian snorted coldly. 30 million isn't a lot of money for you uncles. You can find a beautiful mistress outside and give her more than 30 million. Qianqian, the money is our own. How we use it is our own business. I just don't want to spend money on this gambler. You can't do anything about it, right? What about uncle? Are you going to leave him to die too? If you agree, we will each give 10 million yuan to help third uncle through this difficult time. What do you think? Lu Qianqian turned around and asked the youngest. Little uncle of the Lu family was the most scheming, but faced with such a situation, he could only say, when Big Brother was still around, we were like our father. Indeed, we should be united, but now that Big Brother is gone, I think it's better for us to live our own lives. Besides, we don't know what kind of person third brother has offended this time. If he goes to gamble again, what should we do? We have families too. We can't keep supporting him, can we? In the end, they were not willing to take out the money, even if it was 10 million yuan. When third uncle heard this, he glared at them angrily. You two are worse than beasts. If you make me angry, I will expose all the dirty things you have done to the media. Go ahead. You're the one being chased by the creditor spider. Everyone's focus will only be on you. If you really want to make a big deal out of this, Qianqian will be the first to object. Wouldn't that be a disgrace to Lu Enterprises? Third uncle was speechless when he heard what youngest uncle Lu said. Alright, I know your attitude. Since everyone is here today, let's make things clear. It's fine if you don't want to save third uncle today. I won't force you. But if you are in trouble in the future, don't blame me for not reminding you. You won't get our help either. We don't need it. Second uncle smiled firmly. Alright then. You can leave. But before you leave, hand over the key to my house. Otherwise, I will ask a lawyer to handle this. Trash is trash. They do such dirty things. They don't even let women go. The other two uncles looked unhappy, especially when Lu Qianqian scolded them. We don't know what you are talking about. They definitely have your keys on them. Third uncle finally spoke up. Since you're being heartless, I'm not going to be righteous either. Don't slander us. And the snake in Qianqian's room was released by the youngest. We can't be bothered to listen to your nonsense. Having said that, the two uncles quickly got up and left the Lu mansion. Then Lu Qianqian looked at third uncle coldly. These are your brothers. They are all shameless people. I didn't count on them in the first place. Third uncle said in despair. I know that you don't want to help me, but I have nowhere to go. There's no other way. I'm still going to say the same thing. If you want $30 million, I can give it to you. But I want the shares in your hands as collateral. $30 million isn't much, so you don't have to be so nervous. I just want you to know that I paid a price for this money. If you want to gamble again, you should think it through. After hearing what Lu Qianqian said, third uncle finally nodded. I promise you, if you said that earlier, your hand wouldn't be like this. The bodyguards will accompany you to the hospital later. They will ensure your safety tonight. Come back tomorrow to sign the papers and get the money. All right. Third uncle finally compromised with Lu Qianqian. In his heart, he had a deeper understanding of this little girl. She was definitely not a paper tiger. I will return the key to you. Chapter 533. Soon, the bodyguards sent third uncle of the Lu family away. But the bloodstains on the floor made one's scalp tingle. Mama Lu was very pleased. My Qianqian has really grown up. Mommy, you should go back to your room and rest. I'll ask the servants to clean it up. Qianqian, I think you should be on guard tonight. Your youngest uncle did not hesitate to hurt the people of Lu Holdings, just to cause trouble for you. Now that he knows about your third uncle, he might think of a way to blow things up and humiliate Lu Holdings. Then, the board of directors will make things difficult for you. Mama Lu felt that it made sense. Qianqian, I also think that we should be on guard. If he really does something unusual, we can fight back or even pull him out. Okay, I know. I'll ask my secretary to inform the media to block any news related to Lu Holdings and track down the person who released the news. Okay, I'll contact the people who changed the locks. Lin Muan also said. He had planned to go back to the police academy tonight, but now it seemed that both mother and daughter were frightened. So he would go back tomorrow. It was already 11 at night when everything was settled. When Lin Muan returned to his room, Lu Qianqian had already taken a shower and was lying on the bed. Then Lin Muan washed up and hugged Lu Qianqian in his arms. Don't be afraid. I'm here. I know. Lu Qianqian hugged Lin Muan tightly. But I still feel scared when I think of what happened in the afternoon, especially when I think of third uncle's wound. It's so bloody that my scalp tingles. Lisa will be here when I'm not around. Don't worry. I'm just thinking that I can't even stand such a scene. How did Chi-Chi endure it? What she saw was 100 times more disgusting. We're both girls. I really feel a little cowardly. After hearing this, Lin Muan laughed. Is she an ordinary person? It's a miracle that she could subdue Xing Xiao. I won't be surprised no matter what she does in the future. We are just mortals. We should just enjoy the life of mortals. It's not just you. Even I feel uncomfortable. That's true. Seeing that Lu Qianqian was about to fall asleep, Lin Muan kissed her forehead. I'm going back to the police academy tomorrow. Are you really not going to do anything with me? Ugh. I'm scared. I just want to sleep. Alright then, go to sleep. Lin Muan did not force her. But at that moment, Lu Qianqian suddenly turned over and pressed herself on top of him. Lin Muan was shocked. What are you doing? Thinking about it, I'll eat you first then sleep. During the days when Lin Muan was injured, Lu Qianqian was more proactive because his hands were not convenient. Lin Muan could only reach out and hold Lu Qianqian's waist. It was just that the posture of a woman on top would inevitably make a man feel dissatisfied. It was really uncomfortable when he was not in control of the rhythm. However, Lu Qianqian's blushing face was a different kind of charm. Thinking about it, it was actually not bad. The next morning, Mu Qiqi was praised in the school. At the same time, Gu Xiling accompanied Mama Gu to meet the lawyer for the final evaluation. Should they give it their all or should they apply for bankruptcy? Mama Gu did not blame anyone for what had happened to the Gu family. If she had found out earlier that her husband was under such heavy pressure, she would not have allowed her husband to become so schizophrenic. And her younger brother was now a murderer. If she had not spoiled him when they were young, things would not have turned out this way. And her younger brother's life would not have been ruined. However, Gu Xiling did not think so. Before Mu Qiqi appeared, the Gu family was fine. It had always been fine. This time, it was Mu Qiqi who did not let it go. She wanted to take revenge on the charity banquet. So Gu Xiling hated her very much. Mommy, one day, I will make Mu Qiqi lose everything. After hearing that, Mama Gu was a little puzzled. What does this have to do with Mu Qiqi? If she did not work hard in the police station, the Gu family would not have ended up like this. Mama Gu looked at Gu Xiling in shock. Because she did not expect that her daughter would transfer her hatred to Mu Qiqi. No matter what, this matter was not Mu Qiqi's fault. Although she worked hard in the investigation, it was her duty to stand on the other side. Xiling. Mom, you don't have to worry about me. I am doing well in the Sheng family. Now, Akai is willing to believe me, and Grandpa Sheng will not dare to do anything to me. He will not dare to chase me out of the Sheng family. Why? Mama Gu asked. Because Akai is infertile. If he chases me out, I will definitely not hide this matter for the Sheng family. Grandpa Sheng cannot afford to lose his face, Gu Xiling said. Then what about you? It is not a long-term solution to not have children. Don't worry. I will let Grandpa make the decision. Everything will be done according to his wishes. This was Gu Xiling's cleverness. Mama Gu nodded. You should know your limits. After all, you are Akai's wife. Don't make things irreversible because of this matter. After all, you still need to rely on him for the rest of your life. I know. However, not only was there the annoying Mu Qiqi outside, but there was also third brother, and his wife in the Sheng family, who always went against her. She had to think of a way to break up the relationship between the couple, and make Hu Ran go back to the Hu family. When she went back to the Hu family, Hu Ran's stepmother would teach her a lesson. In the afternoon, in Shengting University, Mu Qiqi went to the university to apply for leave, because she was going abroad to register her marriage tomorrow. Although she appeared to be indifferent to Xing Zhao's suggestion, deep in her heart, she was still looking forward to it. You want to apply for leave again? What for? Feng Shanshan asked when she saw the approved leave slip. It's a private matter. Mu Qiqi did not say it clearly. That's great. After you leave, I will follow up the cases in the forensics laboratory. When the time comes, I will get some commendation. Feng Shanshan said sourly. You should leave for a few more days. TSK. Mu Qiqi laughed. Why are you still saying one thing but what you mean? Are we really not friends? Who wants to be friends with you? Feng Shanshan snorted. If you have time, you should still go and have a relationship. You can't ruin your good school life because of a scumbag. There are still many men in this world for you to choose from. Mu Qiqi tried to persuade her. The professor said that an unmarried man is coming to the police station. Are you not interested at all? Chapter 534. Mu Qiqi shook her head. She felt that it was too early for Feng Shanshan to say that. She might be slapped in the face when they meet tonight. Do whatever you want. Just don't tell me that you've fallen in love with her. Let's wait and see. Feng Shanshan was very confident. Mu Qiqi returned home in the evening and saw the Shun family in the living room. She smiled. Why are you all here? We are just going abroad to register. You don't have to come. You can't say that. Huang Yu held Mu Qiqi's hand and said, You are the pearl of the Shin family. Your grandfather and father are proud of you. Even if the marriage certificate is only recognized abroad, you are still going to be eighth brother's wife. How can the family not come to see you off when your daughter is getting married? Second aunt, don't be too nice to me. Qiqi, come here. Shen Jianchuan sat on the sofa and waved at Mu Qiqi. Mu Qiqi walked over and sat beside Shen Jianchuan. What's wrong, Dad? Shen Jianchuan took out a brocade box from behind and placed it on Mu Qiqi's legs. This is the wedding dress I prepared for you. I hope that I can see my daughter get married beautifully. Mu Qiqi opened the brocade box and saw a pure white gown with accessories inside. Whether it's at home or abroad, we will recognize it when you get married. You can marry the person you like. This is my biggest wish. If you can be happy, I will have no regrets in this life. Mu Qiqi put down the gift and hugged Shen Jianchuan. Dad, you must be healthy too. Wait to be a grandpa in the future. Silly child, I prepared the gown, your grandfather prepared the necklace, and your aunt prepared the headwear. All right, the child will be leaving soon. Let's talk while we eat. Mama Sheng finished cooking and went to the living room. Eighth brother will be back soon. Everyone, wash your hands and get ready for dinner. Mu Qiqi thought about it and walked to Grandpa Shun. She said, Grandpa, I hope I didn't embarrass you. Now everyone knows that the Shun family has a young forensic doctor. I'm proud of it. Why would I feel embarrassed? Grandpa Sheng patted Mu Qiqi's shoulder. Just be yourself. I don't care what others say now. Mu Qiqi really couldn't stand the love from her family. Her eyes turned red and she cried. Sheng Xiao saw that as soon as he entered the house. So he walked up to Mu Qiqi and patted her head. What's wrong? Everyone treats me too well. Why are you crying when I'm treating you well? Are you born to be abused? Sheng Xiao shook his head and led her to the restaurant. We're leaving early. Have a good meal. You'll have to suffer for a long time on the plane. Got it. After dinner, Sheng Xiao carried his luggage and pushed Mu Qiqi out of the house. His family stood at the door and hugged them. All of us are waiting for your return. Okay, Mu Qiqi answered Mama Sheng with a smile. Right now, this young couple was the bond that kept the two families together. They were also everyone's concern. Mu Qiqi got into the car with everyone's blessings. She leaned into Sheng Xiao's arms. I wonder how they will feel when we get married. Idiot, we're getting married for real now. All right. She couldn't afford to offend a man in his 30s. They were getting married for real now. You're going to be my husband soon. How do you feel? In the night, Sheng Xiao lowered his head and looked at Mu Qiqi. For a long time he couldn't say a word. Just as Mu Qiqi was about to fall asleep, he slowly said, I feel that I can't wait until 2 years to register with you. I want to enjoy the status of a husband in advance now. But at the same time, I feel that the responsibility has become heavier. Is it different from before? I have a sense of belonging. I feel like I'm really married. Because I have to shoulder the responsibility of taking care of the family. I feel that the responsibility has become heavier. TSK. Mu Qiqi lay on his lap. Why don't I have this sense of belonging? It's because I felt that I was yours from the beginning. I've always been very intuitive. But there's one thing I agree with. I like that you live your life with a sense of ceremony. It makes me feel that I'm fully valued. Sleep for a while. I'll wake you up when we reach the airport. Sheng Xiao hugged her, grabbed a thick blanket, and put it on Mu Qiqi. No, I want to hug you soberly. Sheng Xiao ignored her and asked Su Che to turn on the lights. Then he took out a document to read. Mu Qiqi lay on his lap instead. She could even be used as a human table for him. Because she was used to this kind of Sheng Xiao. She also liked this kind of Sheng Xiao. At the same time, in the forensics laboratory, Feng Shanshan was helping the professor with an experiment. The professor glanced at her and smiled. Shanshan, are you still single? Professor, don't tell me you're asking me to see a psychologist like Mu Qiqi did. Everyone in the office is going. Aren't you going? The professor reminded her. I heard that this expert is a real high-quality resource. He's very good at martial arts. Professor, I was actually quite bad in the past. I did a lot of things to trick Mu Qiqi. I was powerful and greedy. So those noble souls are really not suitable for me. The professor laughed when he heard this. This is the first time I've heard a girl describe herself like this. As the saying goes, a prodigal son who repents is more valuable than gold. As long as you repent now, how can you not be worthy of those noble souls? Don't. I'm afraid. I'm full of secrets. I'm most afraid of being seen through. That's the expert's specialty. The expert won't be bored to see what color your internal organs are. Hearing such a capable and vicious remark, Feng Shanshan and the professor turned around together. They saw a tall and thin man standing at the entrance of the forensics laboratory. He was wearing black casual clothes and a cap, giving off an extremely oppressive feeling. I'm Tang Yan, a new police officer. I'm good at profiling. I'm here to say hello to the forensics team. I didn't mean to eavesdrop. You didn't close the door. Feng Shanshan was stunned. She suddenly wanted to see the face under the cap. What did it look like? Hello. The professor immediately went up to shake his hand. We're just joking. I hope you don't mind. Is this considered a bad guy hiding in the police station? Tang Yin slowly curled his lips with a hint of mockery. Oh no. Feng Shanshan stood stiffly by the pool. She could not control herself at all. Indeed, one should not talk behind people's backs. Chapter 535. Tang Yin smiled nonchalantly. Professor, please take care of me in the future. It's my duty. The professor smiled. Then, Tang Yin crossed his arms, glanced at Feng Shanshan, and left the forensics lab. The professor glanced at Feng Shanshan and could not help but laugh. How is it? I told you. He's handsome, right? Feng Shanshan's face was very red. But it was not because of the man, but because someone had bumped into her from behind. Strictly speaking, it was because of embarrassment. This man is not a gentleman at all. He doesn't even know how to knock. This man should be 185 meters tall. He's tall, handsome, and very strong. Didn't you see his arms? They're all muscles. He's in high demand, Shanshan. He's the type that Mu Qiqi likes. Don't use Mu Qiqi as a shield. She already has the strongest man. Why would she look at another man? You should think about yourself. Feng Shanshan did not say anything. She lowered her head and did her own things. This man must have a very low EQ. He was not the kind of man who would do anything for a woman. Otherwise, he would not have said such embarrassing words. What a poisonous tongue. No matter how strong a man is, he will become soft when he meets the woman he likes. Feng Shanshan was like a turtle hiding in its shell. Late at night, she took a taxi home and saw Tang Yin at the door. To avoid embarrassment, Feng Shanshan hid behind the glass. After a while, she saw Tang Yin riding away on his motorcycle. That was so cool. Of course, Feng Shanshan would not admit that she was attracted to this man. Late at night, at the Lu mansion, when Lu Qianqian returned home, Lin Mu and had already returned to the police academy. Mama Lu saw that she came home very late, so she asked her if anything happened. Lu Qianqian sat down on the sofa and answered her mother. Muan is right. Uncle really wanted to expose this matter. But the people we arranged to stop him. I have already informed the shareholders' meeting to be held tomorrow. It's time to clean up the rubbish. My daughter, you've worked hard. Having said that, Mama Lu took a package from the table. This is for you. I don't know who sent it. Mommy, aren't you afraid that it might be a bomb? It's not as dangerous as you think. Mama Lu smiled. Someone must have sent the cosmetics. Lu Qianqian opened it and saw expensive cosmetics lying inside. She then looked at the note inside. Thank you for last time. What happened last time? Lu Qianqian suddenly understood. I know who sent this. Who? Muan's aunt. Chi-Chi and I saved her a few days ago, Lu Qianqian replied. I didn't expect her to be a grateful person. Perhaps this is the arrangement of the heavens. It is fated that you should form a good relationship with the Lin clan. After saying that, Mama Lu walked to the dining table. Let's eat. Before Muan left, he reminded me again and again that you must eat on time. Don't ruin my plans. I know, Mommy. At the moment, the atmosphere in the Sheng family was very stiff. Gu Ziling's eyes were red all the time. Maybe it was because she was too upset. Hu Ran and Sheng Bowen were about to meet the paparazzi in the circle, so they did not have time to care about Gu Ziling. However, when dinner was about to end, Gu Ziling suddenly asked third brother, I heard from the servant that you and sister-in-law always have a quilt on the bed and a quilt on the sofa. Do you two sleep in separate beds? Sheng Bowen was stunned. Sheng Bowen was stunned for a moment and shook his head. No. That's good. I thought you two were up to something or sister-in-law was not feeling well. Gu Ziling sounded like a meddlesome sister-in-law. She seemed to be very concerned about third brother and Sheng Bowen. Second sister-in-law, mind your own business. Hu Ran said coldly. Indeed. The Gu family is going bankrupt soon. I don't think I have the right to take care of you. All right. Your second sister-in-law is just concerned about you. You don't have to fight with me every time, do you? Sheng Kai retorted. I know third sister-in-law doesn't like Ziling, but since it's over, you should learn to look forward. Let the past be in the past. Let's eat. Hu Ran rolled her eyes. This couple was really putting on a show every day, and Gu Ziling was just like her father. Yesterday she was arrogant. Today she was nice. You could not keep up with her at all. After dinner the family dispersed. However, Hu Ran stopped Gu Ziling on the way. She asked directly, what tricks are you playing now? I'm not playing any tricks. I just thought you and third brother haven't slept together yet. So I asked out of concern, are you that kind? Hu Ran did not believe her nonsense. If that's the case, don't tell me the two of you really haven't slept together? You know what I mean? Hu Ran glared at Gu Ziling. Then she turned around and left. It's none of your business. Sheng Kai and I made a promise to be a contractual couple. But in the end we did it for real. Now that I think about it, you and third brother probably have the same troubles. After all, you have never been in a relationship. No, who would be interested in you when you were like that? Gu Ziling smiled and left. Hu Ran was left standing in the long hallway. She did not know what to do. She and third brother were not real husband and wife. But this matter must not be known to others, especially Grandpa. Otherwise, he would think that they were putting on a show to stall for time. After all, third brother's position in the Sheng family was really worrisome. It was only because he married her that he regained Grandpa Sheng's trust. Because of that, third brother was summoned to old Sheng's study. Is what your second sister-in-law said true? What is it? Third brother pretended not to understand. What are you two up to about sleeping in the same room, but not in the same bed? You are already married. What else do you want? Grandpa, we got married after seeing each other a few times. We don't have any feelings for each other. So we want to give each other more time. Damn time. Do you want me to urge you on such a thing? Hurry up and give me a child. Don't do this nonsense. Grandpa Sheng was furious. I can't count on your second brother for this. I'm counting on you. You're going to consummate me tonight. How ridiculous. Third brother thought about the old man's words. It sounded a little strange. Why couldn't he count on Sheng Kai? Moreover, what era was it now? Why were young people forced to sleep in the same bed? Chapter 536. Then third brother returned to his room unhappily. When Hu Ran saw him, she knew that he must have been taught a lesson by Grandpa Sheng. I really don't understand. Isn't that woman busy enough? She even cares if we sleep on the same bed. Of course, if Grandpa knows that we are only in name, he will definitely have a lot of ideas. Hu Ran sat on the bed and tidied up the bedding. Then she said to third brother, from today onwards, you can sleep on the bed. Don't sleep on the sofa anymore. Xiao Ran. Why don't we have a drink? Hu Ran suggested. In fact, both of them had the same idea, but they did not know how to say it. They also did not know how to do it when they were sober. So Hu Ran suggested drinking. Third brother nodded and went out. I'll get it. When Hu Ran saw third brother going out, she took out her pajamas from the wardrobe and put them on. In fact, she was already prepared. Although she was not sure about her feelings, she did not plan to change her husband. But if Sheng Bowen met a woman he loved in the future, she could leave. After a while, Sheng Bowen returned to the room with a glass of red wine in his hand. Seeing Hu Ran in her pajamas, he blushed. Let's drink. Hu Ran did not explain. She just sat beside Sheng Bowen. Sheng Bowen smelled the fragrance of the red wine and Hu Ran's body. All of a sudden, he felt his heart surging. What's wrong? Xiao Ran, you don't have to do this. But I don't regret it. Hu Ran smiled. Let's drink. As they drank, Hu Ran leaned on third brother, which made him even more distracted. It was not that Sheng Bowen had never seen Hu Ran wearing skimpy clothes before. It was just that he had never seen her in such a seductive way like today. Xiao Ran, I always feel that I am taking advantage of you. Hu Ran could not help but laugh. Why are you so shy and cute? Having said that, Hu Ran raised her head and kissed third brother's lips. But Sheng Bowen's body stiffened. Then, he pushed Hu Ran away and hid in the bathroom. After thinking for a while, he called Sheng Xiao. Sheng Xiao was still at the airport. He was about to board the plane. What's the matter? Eighth brother. What do I need to pay attention to before or during that kind of thing with a girl? Sheng Xiao was speechless. So you've been a vegetarian for the past 20 years? I don't believe that you had someone else before Chi-Chi. Sheng Xiao choked. This kind of thing is self-taught. There's no need for any teaching. Isn't a girl's first time very painful? You figure it out yourself, idiot. I'm boarding now. Having said that, Sheng Xiao hung up without giving Sheng Bowen any substantive advice. After being nervous for a while, Sheng Bowen returned to the bedroom. However, Hu Ran was already lying on the bed breathing evenly. But the more she was like that, the more third brother knew that Hu Ran was pretending to be asleep. Xiao Ran, if you don't want to, I won't force you. Go to sleep, Hu Ran said calmly. It's not what you think. I'm just nervous, because this is my first time doing something so intimate with a girl. After Hu Ran heard this, she sat up on the bed and couldn't help but laugh. Haha, are you serious? I didn't expect you to be so innocent, third brother. I'm very serious about relationships. I don't want to be casual, Sheng Bowen explained. So, I didn't push you away on purpose just now. Looking at Sheng Bowen's ear, Hu Ran laughed again. I thought you really despised me. How is that possible? As soon as Sheng Bowen said that, Hu Ran kissed him. This time, it was not a light kiss. Instead, it was a kiss with some exploration and desire. After a while, Hu Ran let go of him. Since you don't know how to do it, let's explore together. Let's start with kissing. How does it feel? Not bad. Then, Hu Ran boldly took off Sheng Bowen's shirt and reached out to touch his chest. Then, how about this? It's a little strange. Hu Ran laughed again, because she had never seen such an innocent man. Although Sheng Bowen looked like a righteous child, it was unexpected that he was so conservative. It seems that we have to do it step by step. After Hu Ran said that, she helped Sheng Bowen put on his pajamas. Let's sleep. Don't sleep on the sofa tonight. We have to make that woman speechless. Then, the two of them lay on the bed. However, looking at Hu Ran's back, Sheng Bowen felt a little defeated. I should be very embarrassing in this aspect. Hu Ran laughed and then turned around and threw herself into Sheng Bowen's arms. No, I just think it's fun to tease you. As long as you don't feel disappointed. Hu Ran chuckled and closed her eyes. Although many women liked men with superb skills, Hu Ran liked men like Sheng Bowen. He attached great importance to these things. At least, she could be sure that he would not mess around. It would also make her feel unexpectedly at ease. Although the two of them had slept on the same bed several times, it was the first time they hugged each other so tightly. Sheng Bowen even felt a little difficult to breathe. Although in his heart, he had long regarded Hu Ran as his only wife. After a 13-hour flight, Mu Qiqi and Sheng Xiao finally arrived at Las Vegas in the United States. Strictly speaking, this was Mu Qiqi's first time in the United States. It wasn't as if there weren't any exchanges in the school, but Mu Tongxue would always snatch the opportunity, and she would always be the one left behind. Come to think of it, it was a little funny that a rich young lady like her rarely had the chance to go abroad. Let's go to the hotel first. We'll go and register tomorrow morning. It was 7 o'clock in the evening when they arrived in the United States. You've calculated my birthday, haven't you? Mu Qiqi asked, looking up at him. Sheng Xiao smiled and did not say anything. He held Mu Qiqi's hand and got into the hotel car. Then he hugged her. If you're tired, you can continue to sleep. There's still a long way to go before we reach the hotel. If you don't rest well, your eyes will be swollen when we get married. It's too ugly. I don't want you anymore. Mu Qiqi was so excited that she could not sleep. Forget it if you don't want it. Little one, your skin is itching again. Mu Qiqi leaned into Sheng Xiao's arms. She felt that it was very unreal. Although they were just going to register their marriage abroad, she was going to be married to this man for real. Was the thing that she had dreamed of since she was 17 finally coming true? Thinking of the bitterness when she had a crush on him, Mu Qiqi suddenly chuckled. Chapter 537. You're laughing at me for having a crush on you, and not daring to tell anyone. Now we're getting married. You had a crush on me then? I can see through everything. How is it a crush? Sheng Xiao exposed her. You look at me as if you want to eat me up every day. Anyone would know that. Mu Qiqi thought about it. It seemed to be the case. She smiled shyly. I'm lucky that you like me too. I'm looking forward to the registration tomorrow. It was 2 o'clock in the afternoon in Jianchuan. Lu Qianqian informed the directors of the meeting. She did not tell them what the topic of the meeting was. The shareholders thought that something urgent had happened to Lu Holdings. So they all came to the meeting, including Lu Qianqian's 2 uncles. Chairman Lu, if there's anything urgent, just say it quickly. The directors could not wait any longer. The main reason for the meeting today is this. Lu Qianqian looked at her youngest uncle with a complicated expression. Then she continued. I believe all of you already know about my third uncle's injury. He got one of his hands chopped off because he owed a debt. Now he is receiving treatment in the hospital. This is supposed to be the Lu family's dirty linen. I shouldn't publicize it here. However, because this matter is related to another matter, which involves the interests of Lu Holdings, I have to bring it to the board for discussion today. Chairman Lu, don't keep us guessing. Hurry up and tell us. The directors were anxious. Youngest uncle, I want to know how much you sold the news to the media. Lu Qianqian questioned her uncle directly. The youngest uncle was stunned when Lu Qianqian mentioned him. Then he shrugged. What does it have to do with me if third brother owes a debt? It has nothing to do with you. I don't care if you don't save him. I just want to ask you, why did you expose the matter of third uncle being chased by someone at home? Lu Qianqian, you need evidence to speak and do things. What do you mean by exposing it to the media? Do you have evidence? The youngest uncle of the Lu family was good at cheating. Do you think I dare to hold a board meeting without evidence? Lu Qianqian took out her phone and found the evidence she got from the reporters. The account that transferred the money is yours, right? The secretary who went to the reporters is yours, right? Also, did you prepare this draft that is going to be leaked? Everyone looked at the evidence in Lu Qianqian's hand. Then they all looked at the youngest uncle of the Lu family. You're a human on one side, and a ghost on the other. Don't you think you're a little too divided? What do you mean by this? What good would it do you to expose third uncle's affairs and damage the Lu family's reputation? If you just want to make things difficult for me, please do it openly. Don't sneakily make people's keys behind my back and put poisonous snakes in my room. Little Uncle Lu's face turned red, but he suddenly realized that he could not win against a little girl in an argument. Chairman Lu is really going to do that? How? How? The shareholders started. Whether he is so wicked or not, you will know once you ask him. So, I want to hold this board meeting today. I think based on what youngest uncle has done, I propose to kick him out of the board. Shareholders, please make a statement. The shareholders understood Lu Qianqian's intention. It turned out that she wanted to remove the youngest uncle of the Liu family from his position as a director. The youngest Liu stood up immediately. Liu Qianqian, aren't you bored? Do you think you can kick me out of the board just because of this? No way. Liu Qianqian looked at her youngest uncle fiercely. Then she smiled sarcastically. Just because of this? Do you know how much Liu Holdings' reputation will be affected if this gets out? Do you know how much manpower and resources Liu Holdings will have to spend to calm down the public because of your revenge? You are sacrificing the interests of the shareholders for your own selfishness. If I don't kick you out of the board, how can I explain to the other shareholders? You are too selfish. You are too much. You bully the weak with your uncle's identity. You don't know who developed Liu Holdings. The youngest uncle of the Liu family was even more furious when he heard the comments of the shareholders. Liu Qianqian, you are using your position to get even. Ladies and gentlemen, please vote. I don't want to see this person appear on the board again. Liu Qianqian did not care about the resistance of the youngest uncle of the Liu family at all. She directly initiated the vote. Please note that if you want to keep such a selfish person, I won't object. Anyway, just watch your wallet. You should know that his means of creating risks are top-notch. Then it was time to vote. Almost 2/3 of the shareholders agreed with Liu Qianqian's proposal. Seeing this result, the youngest uncle of the Liu family directly rushed toward Liu Qianqian. This doesn't count. It doesn't count. You have no right to make me leave. Liu Qianqian raised her head and looked at her youngest uncle. I won't argue with you about letting the snake out. But, from today onwards, if you bully my daughter and my widowed mother again, and cause trouble for Liu Holdings, I won't show any mercy to you. Liu Qianqian, I will kill you. Security. Liu Qianqian directly asked the secretary to call the security guards in, and dragged the youngest uncle of the Liu family out of the meeting room. When everyone saw Liu Qianqian's decisive attitude, they also saw her father's wisdom and decisiveness in her. When faced with a problem, she did not have the timidity of a normal little girl. Instead, she had reason and evidence and moved forward bravely without fear. With such boldness, the shareholders were also convinced. She was still young now. When she grew older, she would be able to achieve more glory for the Liu family. After today's incident, I hope that you can pay attention to your own safety, in case some people have ill intentions. Thank you for your concern. I have bodyguards, Liu Qianqian replied. She knew that the scumbag would not let it go just like that. But in order to protect her mother and the Liu family, she had to do some sinister things. The forensics laboratory was unusually quiet in the evening. Feng Shanshan deliberately avoided Tang Yan and entered the forensics laboratory. She wondered if the people in the police station were all so thirsty. With such a man coming, the beautiful police officers went crazy. Professor, this Officer Tang is suitable to be admired. The professor smiled and asked her, why? With that kind of face and body, he doesn't go to beauty pageants or sing. Instead, he becomes a police officer doing psychological profiling. The people in the police station are so fascinated by him that they can't think properly. Feng Shanshan had to admit that she felt a little disdainful when she saw the infatuated young police officers. Have they never seen a handsome man before? After hearing what she said, the professor smiled even more happily. Do you have such a big opinion of Officer Tang? Feng Shanshan rolled her eyes. When she was about to answer, a tall figure walked out from the laboratory, and his expression was serious. You seem to dislike me. Chapter 538. Did I say that? Feng Shanshan asked Tang Yin with a smile. Professor, I'm leaving. Thank you for today. Tang Yin did not waste any more time with Feng Shanshan. He simply buttoned up his shirt and left the forensics lab. Professor, why didn't you tell me that there was someone else inside? I probably didn't tell you that Officer Tang is my nephew, the professor explained innocently. He said that his shoulder and neck are not feeling well recently. I asked him to come over, and I'll take a look. Feng Shanshan said, You're really good. I'm so embarrassed. It's raining outside. Did you bring an umbrella? I'll ask Tang Yin to send you back later. Won't the misunderstanding be cleared up? The professor said happily while cleaning the scalpel. When is Muchichi coming back? Feng Shanshan began to miss Muqiqi. If she was here, the atmosphere would not be so awkward. After Huatsong's case, the branch office was quiet for a few days. So the forensics lab did not need any assistance. Feng Shanshan did not need to stay in the lab until late at night. When Feng Shanshan walked out of the lab, it was 9 o'clock at night. Tang Yin was at the door with an umbrella in his hand. His tall figure was always eye-catching. However, when he turned around and looked at the girl who had disagreed with him again and again, he thought that she would come over to help him with the umbrella. However, she pretended not to see him and rushed into the rainy night with her bag on her back. It took at least 10 minutes to get from the branch office to the bus stop. Was she going to get drenched in the rain? What a stubborn girl. When he arrived at the branch office, he was indeed a little interested in Muqiqi. But he did not see Muqiqi. Instead, he met such a strange girl. Was his umbrella poisonous? It had been raining a lot in Jianchuan recently. The winter wind was biting. Gu Xiling had been quite quiet recently. Every day, she prepared dinner on time and welcomed everyone from the Sheng family home from Huangyao. She spent some time to investigate Sheng Bowen's past love history, but she found that this man, who had lived for more than 30 years, had never had a woman. There was no way to talk about finding an ex or any exciting love history. Hu Ran was the same. Before she became stupid, she had never had a formal boyfriend. After she became stupid, there was no need to talk about it. If he wanted to drive a wedge between the two of them, he would have to find another way. Thinking of this, Gu Xiling asked Sheng Kai after dinner, "Is third brother's secretary a man or a woman?" "Woman, what happened? Can you arrange a pretty and smart one for him?" Gu Xiling asked. Sheng Kai looked at her for a long time. In the end, he did not say anything. However, he understood what she meant. She wanted to create some trouble for third brother. "I will handle this matter," said Sheng Kai. "Kai, there are some things that you have to do. Firstly, to keep an eye on him. Secondly, the Gu family has gone bankrupt, and the Hu family behind Hu Ran will be a great threat to you. I want to get rid of this stumbling block for you." Sheng Kai hugged Gu Xiling and nodded. "I know, you did it for me." In another room, Hu Ran and third brother were discussing how to meet the paparazzi. That scumbag always stood them up when they met. In fact, third brother also knew what he wanted. It was nothing more than money. It was very simple. However, Hu Ran felt that even if she wanted to give him money, it would depend on whether what he said was worth it. "Don't worry about this matter. I will contact the paparazzi. When we meet again, I will tell you." Before third brother went to bed, he said to Hu Ran, "There is one more thing. My friend abroad told me that Tiffany & Company is starting to expose its shortcomings. In less than a month, the scandal will definitely spread." "What about Huangyao?" Sheng Bowen shrugged. Second brother insists on not withdrawing his investment. He wants to increase the investment. Grandpa believes in him. I can't do anything about it. I can only wait to suffer. You have tried your best. Don't make things difficult for yourself. Hu Ran smiled at him. Sheng Bowen tugged at his hair and smiled too. Eighth brother has taught me some ways to salvage the situation. I only hope that when the time comes, Huang Yao will not fall too deep. What about you? Is the communication with father-in-law going well? Dad said that before I show him the evidence, he will not let that woman get pregnant. So I still have time. That's good. After that, the two of them hugged each other naturally and lay down to sleep. But that was all. The two of them were like injured foxes hugging each other for warmth. In this extremely cold world of ice and snow, there was only each other. It was 9 o'clock in the morning in America. Muqiqi and Sheng Xiao filled in the documents at the notary office in America. After that, they would hold a small ceremony in the hall of the notary office. After that, they had to go through 2 notarization procedures. Even so, it would take about a week before they could get the marriage certificate. Seeing that the man in the black suit beside her was about to become hers completely, Muqiqi's lips curled up into a beautiful smile. I thought the notarization would be very complicated. Sheng Xiao held Muqiqi's hand. The two of them were heading to the notary office. They were surrounded by foreigners. But everyone's eyes were focused on the young Asian couple, because they were eye-catching. If you get married today, You won't have the chance to regret it in the future. So, you have to think clearly now. Before the ceremony, Sheng Xiao held Mu Qiqi's hands and said, "After today's registration, I will name everything after us. So, you won't be able to escape. I'm married. But you can't be so casual with me just because I didn't ask for a ring or a grand wedding. You have to make it up to me in the future," Mu Qiqi said with teary eyes. Sheng Xiao could not help but smile. "Do you have any other requests? I'll tell you when I think of something." Even if the country did not acknowledge it yet, it was fine as long as someone acknowledged it. At that moment, Sheng Xiao's tall figure shrouded Mu Qiqi, giving her the greatest sense of security and belonging. Stupid thing. At that moment, Mu Qiqi was wearing the white gown her father had prepared for her. Under the sacred oath, they finally registered their marriage. She had to admit that she was very nervous at that moment. Her hands were shaking uncontrollably. Mu Qiqi did not calm down even after the staff repeated the word "okay" several times. After the notarization, Mu Qiqi wanted to call her family to share the good news. But Sheng Xiao stopped her. "It's midnight now. If you want to call in the afternoon." Chapter 539. Mrs. Sheng, you talk too much. Sheng Xiao pinched her chin and kissed her deeply. It was just that those words had a different meaning in Mu Qiqi's ears. She could now call herself Mrs. Sheng. Happy wedding. And happy birthday, my little wife. At first, the news of Tiffany and Company being in trouble was only spread within the circle. After all, entrepreneurs were very sensitive. However, Sheng Kai, who was sitting in the office, did not care. He had just spoken to the person in charge of Tiffany and Company, and now it was just the inevitable result of the internal reshuffle. He insisted on trusting his own judgment. However, during the weekly meeting, there were people who raised their concerns about this matter. But Sheng Kai rejected them all. However, the person who was usually the fiercest was unusually quiet today. Sheng Kai sneered and asked Sheng Bowen to stay behind. "Why are you mute today? Sheng Xiao is not in the country. Is there no one to give you advice? What I say is not important to you. Why should I ask for trouble? Anyway, you believe that there is no problem with Tiffany and Company now. I have found you a new secretary. Your previous secretary has made a few mistakes in my office." "Whatever," said Sheng Kai. Although he was not very smart, he could still understand this kind of surveillance. However, it was better to put it in the open. At least it was better than Sheng Kai's schemes in the dark. But after third brother walked out of the meeting room, Sheng Kai looked coldly at the seat where Sheng Bowen was sitting. He said in a low voice, "I don't know what Grandpa is thinking. Third brother is not suited to manage a company." If it was not third brother, who was? Was it him? Houston Hotel America. At night, Sheng Xiao brought Mu Qiqi to the hot spring on the top floor of the hotel to enjoy the night view of the whole city. There were only the two of them in the huge hot spring. Mu Qiqi believed that this man must have spent a lot of effort to decorate the place. "Is it our wedding night now?" Mu Qiqi turned her head and asked while leaning on Sheng Xiao's chest. Sheng Xiao turned her around and hugged her. "What do you think?" "No, I can't reach the bottom of the pool. I'm drowning." "Hold my waist," Sheng Xiao whispered. Mu Qiqi looked around and suddenly felt a little shy. "We're exposed in the air. Aren't you afraid that someone might take a video somewhere? It's only right and proper for me to kiss my wife." After saying that, Sheng Xiao's thin face came closer and closer. At the same time, the dazzling fireworks rose into the sky. However, Mu Qiqi could no longer care about those beautiful fireworks. She was directly brought out of the pool by the man and walked to the hotel's bridal suite. "Have a good sleep in the hotel tomorrow. We'll return to Jianchuan tomorrow night." "Why do I have to sleep for a whole day?" Mu Qiqi wrapped her arms around his neck in confusion. "Because tonight, I don't plan to let you rest." Just like that, she married the man she loved and was infatuated with the most in her life. From then on, she had a new identity, Mrs. Sheng. On the other hand, Lu Qianqian had gotten the appreciation of many entrepreneurs in the circle after she dealt with her youngest uncle. It was unexpected that such a small body could carry such a big business. She was also very bold. Everyone was saying that this little shrew was not to be trifled with. Now, no one would talk about Lu Qianqian meeting a scumbag anymore. Now the surprising thing was her ability to manage a business. After understanding some of this, and hearing people often praising this girl, old Lin felt that he had not really understood Lu Qianqian as a person. In the past, he only thought that she was extremely ridiculous and did not look like a girl at all. She was a living slut. Although he did not change his opinion of this girl now, at least he saw that Lu Qianqian still had a little bit of good in her. After staying in the hospital for a long time, old Lin's condition was not under control. Then other symptoms were found, and there seemed to be signs of diabetes. When Lu Qianqian knew about this, she immediately asked her secretary to contact a diabetes expert abroad. However, she did not tell old Lin that she was the one who invited the expert. Sometimes, she felt that this old man was pitiful and hateful. But in the end, he was not as stubborn as old Sheng. At least, he still had a little sincerity for Lin Muan. Otherwise, when Lin Muan hurt himself, he would not be a threat at all. Therefore, she was willing to do these insignificant things, so that one day, old Master Lin would no longer reject her so much. She even hid all of this from Lin Mu. And because she knew that Lin Mu and would not allow her to do such a thing. At night, Lu Qianqian lay on the bed and sent a message to Lin Muan. After Dad left, Mommy seems to be very lonely. I want to encourage her to find new happiness, but I know that Mommy will definitely not let go of Dad. Then give her an obedient pet, so that when you go to work, she can also have a spiritual support. You are right. Lu Qianqian thought carefully. After all, when we have children, it will be a few years later. You want to have children with me? Lin Muan's message was filled with a naughty smile. Go to hell. Okay, when I have a holiday, I will come back to eat you, Lin Muan said calmly. Lu Qianqian wanted to tell Lin Mu, and that old Lin's condition had worsened. But she did not want to burden him, so she did not mention anything. She would wait for the foreign experts to come and confirm the diagnosis. To be honest, I miss you now. I usually hug you to sleep. Suddenly, when I return to the dormitory and hear the thunderous snoring of a few men, I feel a little aggrieved. Don't talk nonsense. Go to sleep. Don't you have training tomorrow? Lin Muan looked at his phone and smiled foolishly. Then he hugged his phone and fell asleep. After all, he had a lover and a family. It was in the middle of the night that the Tiffany & Company outside the country was in chaos. The latest person in charge had absconded with his mistress. Now, the police were hunting for them. The facade that he had created about Tiffany & Company had been torn apart. This huge jewelry empire was now riddled with holes. The people in the jewelry industry received the news one after another. Many people in Jianchuan also heard the news. However, no one told Sheng Kai about this until the next day. At the dining table in the Sheng family, Sheng Bowen casually mentioned it. Oh yes, I forgot to tell you something. Last night, I received news that the executive chairman of Tiffany & Company has run away. Now the police are hunting for him. Hearing this, Sheng Kai looked at Sheng Bowen in shock. What did you say? Your hearing is fine. You heard it. Sheng Kai was stunned for a moment. Then, he took out his phone from his pocket and called the secretary of Tiffany & Company directly. However, the other party told him that Tiffany & Company was in a mess now, and no one could manage it. Chapter 540. Sheng Bowen put down his chopsticks and looked at Sheng Kai coldly. Why didn't I tell you earlier? How many times have I told you that Tiffany & Company has a problem? Did you listen to me? Not only did you not listen to me, but you also increased the investment. We quarreled at home and in the company because of this. Are you blaming me for not telling you earlier? You are crazy. Is it Xing Xiao again? What does it have to do with eighth brother? How capable was eighth brother to be able to shut down a company in Europe? Don't you think you're overestimating yourself by blaming eighth brother when something happens? Eighth brother has never treated you as an opponent because you are not qualified. Sheng Bowen sat down and continued to eat his breakfast calmly. Third brother, your second brother is just anxious. You don't have to help outsiders to deal with your second brother. Do you? Gu Xiling quickly stood beside Sheng Kai and expressed her opinion. If you and your wife have the time to talk nonsense with me, why don't you do something practical and save Huang Yao's losses? You'd better think about how you're going to explain this to the shareholders. You've lost tens of billions of yuan of investment. When Xing Bowen mentioned the shareholders, Sheng Kai suddenly felt a headache. Why did this happen? Grandpa Sheng listened to the conversation between the two brothers. After a long time he said slowly, "Inform the people to hold an interim shareholders meeting." Grandpa, you don't have to say anything more. Grandpa Sheng got up from his chair and went to the study. Sheng Kai was furious. He grabbed third brother's clothes. You really put in a lot of effort to pull me down. You are wrong. You are the one who wants to pull yourself down. It has nothing to do with me, third brother said calmly. I will not do as you wish. Let's wait and see. Then, third brother broke free from Sheng Kai's grip and left the dining room with Hu Ran. Sheng Kai's face was pale, but he could not do anything about it. He had made a big mess of a $10 billion deal. But no matter what, he would not let Xing Bowen get what he wanted. Did he want to take the position of crown prince from him? Don't even think about it. The news of Huang Yao encountering the glacier spread very quickly. It also surprised and shocked people. When Huang Yao was handed over to Sheng Xiao, there had never been such a big problem or crisis. However, Sheng Kai had only been the crown prince for a short period of time, and such a big case had already happened. Anyone would question Sheng Kai's ability, let alone the shareholders who were related to their own interests. Soon, Grandpa Sheng came out of the room after changing into a new set of clothes. When he passed by the living room, he said to third brother, "You should come to the meeting too. Grandpa, I'd better not join in, or I'll get into a fight with second brother again." That's not good for solving the problem, third brother replied. Let's see if he has any contingency plans. So you have it. Ever since second brother proposed to cooperate with Tiffany and Company, I've been against it, but to no avail. For the future of Huang Yao, of course, I can't do nothing. But I can't tell you about this yet because I'm not confident, Sheng Bowen said to Grandpa Sheng. Old Sheng took a deep breath and nodded. I'll go to the meeting first. Sheng Kai was responsible for the matter. But did the old man not have his share of responsibility as well? Every time Sheng Kai and Sheng Bowen quarreled at home, Grandpa Sheng would always side with Sheng Kai. He rarely listened to third brother's opinion. But now, he had suffered a setback. After Grandpa Sheng left, the living room of the Sheng family finally quieted down, because Gu Xiling just stared at Sheng Bowen silently. After a long while, she finally said, I really couldn't tell that you're so clever. Same to you. This matter had blown up. Sheng Xiao, who was far away in America, had received the news. He was about to return to Jianchuan with Mu Qiqi. However, when they arrived, the board meeting of Huang Yao had already ended a few times. I don't know much about the business world, but will this matter shake the foundation of Huang Yao? Of course not. The loss of investment is completely different from the Gu family's situation. There are many ways to remedy it. Sheng Xiao answered Mu Qiqi. These things are very complicated. You might not understand even if I say a few words. Don't waste your brain cells. You just need to know that this is a good opportunity for third brother to take over. Are you really planning to pull second brother down from the position of crown prince? It's not me. It's third brother. Sheng Xiao's eyes were half closed as he rested in the VIP lounge of the airport. His tone was lazy as if this matter did not bother him at all. Does third brother have such great ambition? It's not like you don't know that he was imprisoned in the Sheng family. Only when he has real power can he really control his life. Then are you going to help him? Sheng Xiao shook his head. I don't want to get involved in the jewelry industry anymore. Moreover, if third brother can't handle this matter, the result will be the same even if the person in charge of Huang Yao is changed. Mu Qiqi could not understand the deception in the business world. She did not want to understand it. I can only pray for third brother in my heart. At this moment, the atmosphere in the meeting room of Huang Yao was unusually tense. Even Grandpa Sheng was personally involved. One could imagine how big a blow this matter was to Huang Yao. Sheng Kai was sitting in the CEO's seat. However, all the shareholders looked at him suspiciously. Some of them even made things difficult for Sheng Kai. Huang Yao has never had such a failed investment in so many years. When Sheng Xiao was still around, we never sat here to hold anyone responsible for our investments. But today, I want to ask you something. CEO Sheng, have you thought of a solution for this matter? How much can the loss be reduced? Before this, third young master strongly opposed it. But CEO Sheng repeatedly assured the board that this cooperation was in the bag. But now, I just want to know who will fill the billions of losses. CEO Sheng, is it you? Old chairman, please give us shareholders an explanation today no matter what. Grandpa Sheng looked at everyone coldly. He did not speak from the beginning to the end. He just stared ahead without moving. Old chairman? Grandpa. Everyone looked at Grandpa Sheng, only to see him suddenly fall down from his chair. Everyone panicked and did not know what to do. Call an ambulance. Call an ambulance. In the end, the meeting could not continue. It was postponed until the afternoon when Grandpa Sheng woke up. When third brother heard the news, he immediately went to the hospital with Hu Ran. But Grandpa Sheng was still in the emergency room. Chapter 541. I'm the only one who's selfish. Aren't you selfish too? Sheng Kai retorted. What right do you and eighth brother have to question me? Calm down. Grandpa is still being examined. He heard you arguing outside. His condition is going to get worse. Hu Ran quickly separated the two of them. How can you still have the mood to quarrel at a time like this? Sheng Bowen let go of Sheng Kai's collar and took a few steps back. The two brothers stood on each side, anxiously waiting for the news from the emergency room. Although they had a lot of hatred and complaints, they could not help but worry when it came to a critical moment. A moment later, the doctor came out of the emergency room and said to the two brothers, "It's not a big deal. He's just in shock because of the lack of oxygen. The patient is resting inside now. Try not to disturb him or stimulate him." "Thank you, doctor." The two brothers heaved a sigh of relief and entered the ward. When they saw Grandpa Sheng sitting on the bed, they walked over together. "Grandpa, how are you feeling?" "Eighth brother, you're back." Grandpa Sheng looked at Sheng Kai and said naturally. Sheng Kai was stunned, and so was Sheng Bowen. In fact, deep in Grandpa Sheng's heart, he had always been worried about Sheng Xiao. He missed Sheng Xiao and wanted to rely on Sheng Xiao. However, the person he wanted to be close to the most was also pushed out of the house by him. Grandpa rests well. Sheng Bowen helped him lie down, because he could feel that Grandpa Sheng had not recovered yet. "I'll stay here with Grandpa. You should do what you should do." Third brother did not want to quarrel with Sheng Kai now, so he took the initiative to say that he wanted to stay in the hospital. However, Sheng Kai was not at ease. "You're staying here? If you ask Grandpa to make a will or ask him to transfer the shares to you while he's unconscious, I won't know anything." After Sheng Bowen heard this, he sneered. "This is the first time I've realized that your heart is actually so dirty. I'm just taking precautions. Get out." Unexpectedly, Grandpa Sheng shouted at Sheng Kai. "Do you want me to die?" "Grandpa, I'm still conscious." "Grandpa, that's not what I meant." Grandpa Sheng waved his hand and gestured for Sheng Kai to leave. If he had not heard it with his own ears, he would not have believed that second brother was so suspicious of third brother. After all these years, he thought that he understood his two grandsons' temperaments very well. His third son had never played any tricks on him, but his second son had become more and more unfamiliar with him. What about Tiffany and Company then? Do as you see fit. If the shareholders aren't satisfied and want to remove you from your position, then just let them be. That was the old man's last hope for Sheng Kai. If he could not handle the matter well, it would mean that he was not qualified to continue being the heir of Huang Yao. It was as simple as that. Sheng Kai's heart sank. But there was nothing he could do. He could only turn around and leave the ward. There was nothing he could do but go to Huang Yao to think of a solution. It had happened so suddenly that he had to go to Europe himself to understand the situation. After that, the board meeting continued. Sheng Kai asked the shareholders for their consent. "Give me a week. I will make up for the loss of Huang Yao this time." Thinking that Grandpa Sheng had fainted in the meeting room just now, The shareholders did not want to force Sheng Kai, so they agreed to his request. Then we will give you a week. If you can't solve the crisis within a week, then we, the shareholders, think that you are not suitable to continue being the CEO of Huangyao. CEO Sheng, you have to take care of yourself. Then, Sheng Kai asked his secretary to book a plane ticket abroad. He was about to take off soon. As for the hospital, he could only call Gu Xiling. Grandpa is in the hospital now. Third brother and his wife are taking care of him. But Xiling, you know my concern. I can't let third brother and grandpa be alone together. Don't worry. Leave such a small matter to me, Gu Xiling replied. In the ward, Gu Xiling had not arrived yet. Grandpa Sheng leaned against the bed and looked at Sheng Bowen. Third brother, tell me the truth. Are you still in contact with eighth brother? Occasionally, third brother replied. But it doesn't involve any secrets. Eighth brother has almost no interest in Huang Yao's matters now. Is that so? Grandpa Sheng murmured. Grandpa, you know very well that the company will face the same situation sooner or later if you hand it over to second brother. That's why you are thinking about eighth brother. Grandpa Sheng remained silent and did not answer. After a long while he said to Sheng Bowen, I want to see him. But he is not in the country now. Then wait for him to come back. I will ask him. Third brother did not dare to tell Grandpa Sheng that he was dead. He could only reluctantly agree. Outside the door, Gu Xiling heard the conversation between the grandfather and grandson. The coldness in her eyes was obvious. She did not expect that after such a long time, Sheng Xiao was still in Grandpa Sheng's heart. It turned out that he had always doubted Sheng Kai's ability. He wanted to see Sheng Xiao at this time? What did he want to do? Gu Xiling panicked when she heard what Grandpa Sheng said. She knew very well that Sheng Kai might not be able to keep his position as CEO after the failure of the collaboration with Tiffany and Company this time. Sheng Kai had put in so much effort, but in the end, he still could not win against Grandpa Sheng's favoritism. Humph, he was really heartless. That night, Jinchuan seemed to be especially cold. It was not only because of the weather, but also because of the people's hearts. When Feng Shanshan arrived at the forensics laboratory, she looked around cautiously. It was because she was afraid that another person would jump out when she badmouthed someone else. Seeing this, the professor laughed. Do you really not like Tang Yan? Not really. Hee. Feng Shanshan quickly tried to cover it up. Just when the professor was about to expose her blushing face, a police officer knocked on the door. Professor, what's the matter? There was a murder case in a hotel in the city. Captain, please go to the field immediately. I will go immediately after I get ready. After saying that, the professor gestured to Feng Shanshan. Let's go. Chi-Chi is not here, so I can only ask you. Mu Chi-Chi is here. Aren't you going to ask me? Stop talking about Wenju's name. Pack your things. It's a matter of life and death. Having said that, the professor immediately carried the forensics case. Chapter 542. Shanshan, take Tang Yan's motorcycle, the professor said to Feng Shanshan when he saw that the police car was full. But don't tell me you want me to take a motorcycle at my age? Feng Shanshan felt that the professor was doing it on purpose to embarrass her. But for the sake of investigating the case, she walked behind Tang Yan and said to him, Sorry to trouble you, Officer Tang. Come on. Tang Yan handed the helmet to Feng Shanshan coldly. Put it on. Hold on tight when the speed is too fast. Otherwise, I won't be responsible if you fall to the ground. Feng Shanshan was speechless. Did he think that she was a good girl who had never ridden a motorcycle before? Even so, Feng Shanshan only knew what excitement was when she got into Tang Yan's car. She even felt that she was floating in the air the whole time. Was this man playing tricks on her on purpose? Of course, with such a fast speed. The two of them arrived at the crime scene immediately. Tang Yan showed his ID, and the police officers immediately let him in. A total of 4 people died. 1 downstairs, 1 at the staircase, 1 on the bed in the room, and 1 in the bathroom. 2 men and 2 women. They are all between 24 to 30 years old. Feng Shanshan could not help but sigh when she saw the tragic scene along the way. They are all slashes. Each of them has at least 5 to 6 wounds. The murder weapon is something like an axe. As for Tang Yen, he did not speak throughout the whole process because he was good at psychological profiling. His eyes were observing the crime scene, as if he was not willing to let go of any corner. Soon the professor and the others arrived at the scene. When they saw Feng Shanshan squatting beside the body at the door, they were surprised. "You're so fast." "Thanks to a certain someone. We've already looked through the crime scene once," Zhao Yu said. "Can't you slow down when you're carrying a girl?" The professor scolded Tang Yen. "You really don't know how to be tender to a girl." "I'm used to it," Tang Yen replied coldly. "How's the crime scene?" The professor changed the topic. "Look at the body. It's still fresh and warm." "Yes, it happened 2 or 3 hours ago," the police officer at the scene said. "Shanshan, have you done a preliminary examination of the body?" The one at the entrance was slashed in the back. There were a total of 7 wounds, 2 of which reached the heart. The cause of death was due to excessive bleeding. As for the woman in the stairwell, her abdomen and waist were slashed to varying degrees, but we don't know which one was the deadliest. The man on the bed in the room was directly beheaded. As for the man in the bathroom, the way he died is a bit strange. He was pierced through the heart by a sharp fruit knife. The preliminary judgment is that he committed suicide. Beside him, there is a blood-stained axe. So the case can be closed just like that? The young policeman asked them innocently. However, from Feng Shanshan and Tang Yan's eyes, the professor was certain. "It's not that simple, right?" Tang Yan replied. "There are many suspicious points." "Then take the body back and dissect it. Also do a DNA match for these bloodstains. As for the rest, we'll talk about it when we get back to the police station." The captain walked around and said to them, "I still want to take a look at the scene." After saying that, the professor squatted at the place where Feng Shanshan had squatted just now and began to carefully examine the body. He also asked Feng Shanshan to record the shape of the bloodstains. Sometimes, when there were more deaths and the case was more complicated, they could use these bloodstains to reconstruct the murderer's movements at that time. Feng Shanshan did as she was told. She was also very careful. This made Tang Yan's impression of her change a little. At first glance, he could tell that she was familiar with the process. She was not shy at all. What Tang Yan was most afraid of was meeting some naive people when he was investigating a case. Obviously, Feng Shanshan was not one of them. He just did not know what kind of person Mu Qiqi was. An hour later, the police had made a copy of all the evidence that could be taken away from the crime scene. It was time for everyone to leave the scene. The professor glanced at Tang Yan and was about to instruct him, but he was very self-aware. He directly handed the helmet to Feng Shanshan. "Let's go." Feng Shanshan shuddered when she thought of the speed just now. "I'd better take a taxi." "Up to you." After saying that, Tang Yan put away the helmet and got on his motorcycle. The professor was speechless when he saw this. He's really single based on his own ability. No wonder he still can't find a girlfriend after so long. TSK. Feng Shanshan was not shy. She took a taxi herself. She also liked to be straightforward. She hated men who kept pestering her the most. Soon, the group returned to the police station. After all, there were 4 bodies, and there were not enough forensic doctors. So Feng Shanshan could only stay to help. However, she did not expect Tang Yan to also know how to dissect. Seeing Feng Shanshan's confusion, Tang Yan explained casually, "I've also learned clinical medicine and anatomy." Feng Shanshan nodded. Although she was not used to it, she still cooperated. "We'll have to stay up late tonight. Be prepared. You help here. Let Shanshan go back. She's a student, and she still has class tomorrow." The professor criticized Tang Yan. "I really want to slap you awake. You don't know how to be considerate of a girl at all." Tang Yan shrugged and continued to bury his head in dissecting the body. "Professor, I can do it." Feng Shanshan perked up. "I only have class tomorrow afternoon. Don't force yourself." Feng Shanshan rolled her eyes and looked at Tang Yan. "Don't look down on me." As for Mu Qiqi, who Tang Yan wanted to see, she flew back to Jianchuan from America at 9 o'clock the next day. She and Sheng Xiao got off the plane. Before they could go home, she received a call from Sheng Bowen. Grandpa is sick. He wants to see you, eighth brother. Sheng Xiao held Mu Qiqi's hand and did not give third brother a definite answer. Let me understand the situation first. Trust me, this time, Grandpa won't make things difficult for you. Was Sheng Xiao afraid of making things difficult for him? Not at all. He wanted to know how bad Huang Yao was now, and what the old man was thinking. Even so, he did not let third brother go. I'll get back to you later. What's wrong? The old man suddenly had an idea. He wants to see me again. Sheng Xiao held Mu Qiqi's hand tightly. I'll send you home first. I'm going to Zhongteng. No need. I'm not tired yet. If you want to see the old man, you have to bring me along. Mu Qiqi held Sheng Xiao's hand. Just send me to the forensics lab. I don't have class in the morning. Not resting? Not jet-lagged? Sheng Xiao asked with a hidden meaning. Chapter 543. Sheng Xiao stroked Mu Qiqi's hair. Forget it. I can't do anything to you. Then Su Che drove Mu Qiqi to the forensics laboratory. The professor was busy. When he saw Mu Qiqi, he smiled. Xiao Qi, you came back at the right time. Come and help me. You have to wait for me to change and get ready. Mu Qiqi pointed at her clothes. You finally know that you are back. Feng Shanshan walked out of the room. She had dark circles under her eyes and looked very tired. You can help the professor now. I am going to lie on the sofa for a while. Mu Qiqi looked at the corpses on the dissection table. Then, she saw a tall man standing beside the dissection table. She frowned. This is the new detective Tang Yan, Feng Shanshan said impatiently. He is good at psychological profiling. Tang Yan stopped what he was doing and took off his gloves. He extended his hand to Mu Qiqi. I have heard a lot about you. I am sorry. Mu Qiqi extended her hand and shook his hand politely. Then, both of them looked away. But Mu Qiqi asked Feng Shanshan with her eyes and mouthed. What happened? Feng Shanshan rolled her eyes. I will tell you later. You should understand the case first. What happened to this case? A total of 4 people died. 2 men and 2 women. 3 of them were hacked to death. And the last one was stabbed in the heart with a fruit knife. The police have verified the identity and background of these 4 people. From the looks of it, the murderer killed them first and then committed suicide. So we can close the case. But things are not that simple. Then, I will look at the corpses first and keep up with your progress. Mu Qiqi said. Then she focused on the corpses. At 10 o'clock in the morning, Sheng Xiao appeared in Zhongting's office. His secretary immediately sent him the documents that he needed to deal with. Sheng Xiao looked at the documents on the table and said to Su Che, I want to know about the case between Tiffany and Company and Huang Yao. I knew you would ask, so I have investigated it. I got the latest news through some channels. Su Che immediately passed the documents to Sheng Xiao. Sheng Kai has flown abroad, but the situation in Tiffany and Company is very bad for him. I was the one who handed Huang Yao over to him. I never thought this day would come. Sheng Xiao stood in front of the French window, his eyes sharp and cold. That's not something you can control. I'll pick Chi'er up from school in the afternoon, and then go to the hospital. Huang Yao's foundation was strong, and the 10 billion yuan of cooperation would not hurt the foundation of Huang Yao. But even so, it would be a great blow to their vitality, and they would need a long time to recover, unless they could think of a way to remedy it. I remember that the Tiffany family has an elder brother, right? Indeed. When the old chairman passed away, the 2 brothers fought for a long time. Because the elder brother was not a pure Tiffany family member, he lost. If Sheng Kai is smart enough, he will know to look for this brother. Wasn't this a turning point? Su Che didn't know what was the point of looking for that big brother in this situation. In the hospital, Gu Xiling told Sheng Kai that Grandpa Sheng wanted to meet Sheng Xiao. On the other hand, Sheng Kai finally got off the plane. But before he heard any good news, he was stabbed in the back by his own grandfather. Did his grandfather not believe in his ability? Looking for Sheng Xiao now, asking him to come back and hold the fort? He would never allow it. Xiling, listen to what they have to say and be prepared. I will never let Sheng Xiao take away everything that I have worked so hard for. I know, Gu Xiling said. However, it was easy for her to make things difficult for Sheng Bowen. But how could she stop Sheng Xiao? Now, I'll go to Tiffany and Company to understand the situation. The Sheng family will depend on you. We are of one mind. Don't worry. Mu Qiqi had to attend classes in the afternoon, so she could only understand the case briefly in the morning, so that she would not fall behind. Based on the current situation, the distribution of the blood stains was a very important breakthrough point. In such a case, it was best to reconstruct the movement of the murderer, so that the police could get the most information and help them solve the case. We will wait for you to do the experiment tonight. Let's wait for more information from the police, the professor said to them. Go back to class first. Mu Qiqi supported Feng Shanshan, and they took a taxi together. However, when she saw Tang Yin behind them, Mu Qiqi could not help but gossip. This man is so tall and strong, and he has a good face. Aren't you interested in him at all? Feng Shanshan rolled her eyes. Don't mention it. I have said bad things about him several times and he heard it. He is not a quarrelsome couple. Enemy my *s. Any random boyfriend I've had would have a much higher EQ than him. This is an ancient creature. It's better not to provoke it. Feng Shanshan yawned, looking like she wanted to stay away from it. Besides, he is here for you. I have heard a lot about you. I'm married. Don't hurt me, okay? Mu Qiqi quickly said. I forgot that the one in your family is a super jealous king. Then Feng Shanshan closed her eyes. Call me when you arrive at school. However, when school was about to end, Sheng Xiao texted Mu Qiqi that he would go to the hospital to see the old man. Mu Qiqi sighed. She might not be able to help the professor with the experiment today, but she did not want Sheng Xiao to go back and face Grandpa Sheng and Gu Xiling alone. Although no one could bully her man, it was not bad to go back and see third brother and third sister-in-law. At 6 o'clock in the evening, Su Che drove Sheng Xiao and Mu Qiqi to the hospital. At that time, Gu Xiling happened to be delivering food to Grandpa Sheng. When she saw Sheng Xiao and Mu Qiqi getting out of the car, her chest immediately lit up. So, she did not think much and stopped them. What are you doing in the hospital? Don't you think you have hurt Grandpa enough? Su Che. Sheng Xiao did not want to talk to her, and called out to Su Che. Su Che stood in front of Gu Xiling, and reached out to block her way. Miss Gu, I think you can wait here for a while. What if I don't? Then I can tell you clearly that as long as it is someone with bad intentions, I will beat them up regardless of whether they are old, young, or women. Su Che replied coldly. You. Gu Xiling wanted to force her way over, but Su Che pushed her back. Gu Xiling deliberately fell to the ground. You are shameless. You bully a woman. Chapter 544. In front of the ward, Sheng Xiao and Mu Qiqi saw third brother and his wife. Go in. Grandpa is inside. Eighth brother, Grandpa can't be provoked. Watch your words. I won't go in. Mu Qiqi looked at Sheng Xiao and said, If I go in and make his condition worse, I will be a sinner. Take good care of Cheer, Sheng Xiao said to third brother and his wife. Sheng Bowen pointed at the door and gestured for Sheng Xiao to go in quickly. Gu Xiling could not afford to offend your precious daughter. Moreover, she had Su Che with her. Sheng Xiao pushed the door open. His tall figure slowly walked to Grandpa Sheng. Under the light, Sheng Xiao's figure made people feel pressured. He was calm and mature. Didn't you want to see me? Grandpa Sheng looked at his grandson. His hands could not help but tremble. When you handed everything to second brother, did you ever think that this would happen? Eighth brother, don't you think you entrusted the wrong person? Isn't it normal to fail in an investment? But when you were in Huangyao, you never let such a thing happen. Grandpa Sheng looked at Sheng Xiao with a burning gaze. Don't you think that this is a side effect of your capriciousness to Sheng Kai? When I was in Huangyao, you could control everything in your hands. You could do whatever you wanted. Heaven today, hell tomorrow. Second brother knew very well that he was not as capable as me. How could he keep his position as the crown prince? Of course, you would get rid of the dissidents. because he did not feel safe, and his heart was full of danger. You would seize the opportunity to use the people who are useful to you. You would turn around and abandon the people who are useless to you. With this premise, of course, he would not tolerate third brother's existence. When people are extreme, their thoughts will also be crazy. Have you never thought about this carefully? Sheng Xiao sat on the sofa at the side, showing his noble posture. If you can't let go, Huang Yao will always be in a state of war. Killing each other is just an internal friction. Will you really not come back? Grandpa Sheng still had a glimmer of hope for Sheng Xiao. At least, help Huang Yao through this crisis. There will always be someone who can solve Huang Yao's problems. If you are willing to trust third brother more, he will naturally give you a satisfactory answer. As for me, I'm walking a different path. We're not on the same side anymore, Sheng Xiao told old Sheng frankly. I feel like my body is getting worse. Grandpa Sheng said to Sheng Xiao, admitting defeat. He had never used such a pleading tone. I don't want Huang Yao to be destroyed in my hands after so many years. I won't target Mu Qiqi anymore. And I don't expect you to come back. I only have one request, and I hope you can promise me. You first. If Huang Yao falls to the point of no return in second brother's hands, I beg you, use your power to buy Huang Yao, or at least keep what belonged to our ancestors. Otherwise, I wouldn't have the face to face the ancestors of the Sheng family even if I die. I'll consider it if it's worth it, said Sheng Xiao. With these words of yours, even if I die, I can rest in peace. So, it only took Sheng Xiao 10 minutes to get rid of Su Che. By the time Gu Xiling got rid of Su Che, Sheng Xiao had already come out of Grandpa Sheng's ward. As the CEO of Zhongting, you don't usually care about anything. But when Grandpa Sheng is sick, you immediately come to the hospital. You are really filial. Why? Are you also thinking about Grandpa Sheng's inheritance? I realize that every time I see you, you are always so aggressive. You like to bluff, Mu Qiqi retorted. Are you that afraid that we will come back to snatch it? Or do you know that second brother will step down from the Tiffany & Company partnership, and that you and your wife will lose everything? Since you have everything, why are you trying to tempt Grandpa? Did you see it with your own eyes? Or did you hear it with your own ears? You are really good at framing people. But if Grandpa Sheng really wants to consider Xiao Xiao, I'll be glad to see it. After all, who doesn't like money? Don't you think so, second sister-in-law? More importantly, if Grandpa Sheng really wants Xiao Xiao's share, you can't do anything even if you protest to your death. If you are so capable, go against Zhongting. Gu Ziling's eyes were red with anger. But she could do nothing. You are just bullying me, because my man is not by my side. That's what you deserve. Then, Mu Qiqi turned to look at Sheng Xiao. Send me to the forensics laboratory. It's much better to help the professor with the murder case than to stay here. After all, I don't want to waste my saliva. Sheng Xiao looked calm. He put his hand on Mu Qiqi's shoulder. Su Che, let's go. Then, the three of them left the hospital and disappeared into the corridor. But Gu Ziling's anger had not been vented yet. Third brother, you are really something. Now that Huang Yao is in trouble both internally and externally, you still brought the Sheng family's enemies here. Are you in cahoots with Sheng Xiao to steal Grandpa's inheritance? Third brother saw that Gu Xiling was like a shrew, standing at the door of the ward and shouting. She did not look like a socialite at all. So he reminded her. To be honest, you don't win everything just because you are loud. Having said that, he was about to enter the ward, but Gu Xiling stopped him. You don't need to take care of this place before second brother comes back. Sheng Bowen was about to retaliate when Grandpa Sheng appeared at the door. He said to Gu Xiling, go back. Third brother and his wife are enough. Grandpa, don't fall for Sheng Xiao and third brother's trap. Before Gu Xiling could finish, old Sheng's slap had already landed on her. I'm not dead yet, and you're already getting one inheritance after another. Grandpa, get lost. Grandpa Sheng dragged third brother and his wife into the ward and slammed the door shut. Third brother quickly comforted Grandpa Sheng. Grandpa, take care of yourself. Chronic illness makes no filial son. I haven't been sick for a long time, but they are already thinking about my inheritance. Grandpa Sheng sneered. Why would Gu Xiling say that? I don't believe second brother doesn't know that these two are plotting against each other. Grandpa. Eighth brother told me to trust you more. Third brother, tell me the truth. Do you have a solution for this crisis? Chapter 545. As long as he is willing to come out and stabilize the situation, Tiffany and Company will still have a chance to survive. The cooperation with Huang Yao can also be carried out. I have been in contact with him for some time. He is an upright and honorable person. Will he agree to take over the business? After all, he needs a large sum of money to make up for the deficit. He has the most inheritance in his hands. So it will not be a problem for him to stabilize Tiffany and Company, and he has many businesses under his name, Sheng Bowen replied. If that is the case, then you must be responsible for this matter. Don't let Huang Yao suffer any losses. Grandpa has wronged you in this matter. I have wronged you in the past. Grandpa Sheng suddenly said to Sheng Bowen, you have only been sick for a day, but I have seen through many things. Now you are just in shock. If you are seriously ill and unconscious, I am afraid you and your wife will not be able to fight against second brother and his wife. I really did not expect second brother to be so scheming. Outside the door, Gu Xiling was eavesdropping. She knew that Sheng Bowen had contacted the Tiffany and Company people, so she immediately called Sheng Kai. Look for the eldest young master of the Tiffany and Company people. He can solve your problem. It turns out that third brother has been secretly trying to win him over. Sheng Kai suddenly woke up from his dream. Yes, why didn't I think of meeting the eldest young master of the Tiffany and Company people? Kai, Grandpa has met Xing Xiao. I don't know what they talked about. His damn assistant stopped me, and I couldn't move. Sheng Kai knew that this would be the result. It's not your fault. You have already helped me a lot. However, Sheng Bowen had said that this eldest young master was an upright and honorable person. That meant that he would not make friends with just anyone, and would not be willing to meet just anyone. Could Sheng Kai really meet him this time? Let's just wait and see. In order not to let Gu Xiling treat him as a seriously ill patient, Grandpa Sheng was discharged from the hospital that night. When he returned home, he was as dignified as usual. Before going to bed, he called his lawyer. Let's meet outside tomorrow. I want to change my will. Meanwhile, Mu Qiqi had returned to the forensics lab, where the professor and Feng Shanshan were conducting various experiments on blood morphology. Splashes, water droplets, and the direction of the blood droplets all represented the murderer's movement trajectory. Previously, many legal programs had introduced such cases. Unexpectedly, they really encountered such a case, and it seemed to be a highly imitated crime. According to the police's deduction, the order of death should start from the room, then the one in the stairwell, and finally the one at the hotel entrance. However, the first person to die was the man who had fallen at the hotel entrance. The second one was the woman, who came down from the stairwell. The third was the woman on the bed in the room, and the last was the man in the bathroom. He's about 1.75 meters tall, male, and his body is incomplete. His left foot is seriously indented. If I'm not mistaken, he's missing an index finger on his left hand. He's about 40 years old, and has a certain level of anti-detection ability, Tang Yin said to the others. When Tang Yin finished speaking, Mu Qiqi and the other two were stunned. Officer Tang, can you be more specific? The height deduction is based on the height of the first man, and all the cuts on his body are concentrated on his back. This shows that the murderer can only come here. As for the murderer's incomplete body, it's based on his footprints. According to the police's investigation, these 2 men and 2 women are not incomplete. However, they found a set of footprints at the crime scene, 1 light and 1 heavy, forming a figure 8. As for the missing index finger, it's based on the third victim. The murderer accidentally placed his left hand on the bed, and there were handprints on the edge of the bed. The position of the index finger is very clean. So, do you understand now? Mu Qiqi did not expect Tang Yin to be so observant. Sure enough, it made sense that his EQ was low. He was a serious person who did practical work. He should not have the energy to be in a relationship. What about the identity and social background of these 2 men and 2 women? The 2 men are brothers, and the 2 women are their wives. This hotel is owned by them. But because the police are investigating, the hotel is still under renovation. So there are no customers in the hotel, the professor told Muchichi. If the victim in the bathroom is the last victim, then where did the murderer escape from? After all, he wanted to create the illusion that the murderer committed suicide. If he went back the way he came and swaggered away, there would definitely be evidence left behind. Muchichi raised the most crucial question of the case. Let's ask the police to screen the clues according to Tang Yan, and see if there are any suitable suspects. The few of them worked for a few hours before they finally figured out the case. However, when Feng Shanshan sat at the side and rested, she stole a glance at Tang Yan. Actually, she had only heard about profiling before, but she had never really seen it. Today, after listening to Tang Yan's analysis, she realized that there was a huge gap between her and Tang Yan. At least in terms of professionalism, Tang Yan was worthy of his identity as a police officer. Why? Suddenly, there are hearts in your eyes? Muchichi noticed that Feng Shanshan was peeking at Tang Yan. She leaned on her shoulder and gossiped. A man is the most charming when he shows his ability, Feng Shanshan replied. Actually, looking at him like this, he is not that annoying. Low EQ. That's what you said. You won't even consider a man with low EQ. Don't worry. I just think that he's good at what he does. If we really dated, I think I'd die of anger 1,000 times. Because you can imagine, a man like that, even in bed, would be like a dead fish. All he would do is move. He's not interesting at all. After Tang Yan changed his clothes and came out, he heard Feng Shanshan's words. His eyebrows immediately furrowed. This woman's imagination was really rich. She even thought about what to do in bed in the future? It's not that bad. I think Officer Tang is still very cute. Feng Shanshan shook her head. Then, she changed her clothes with Muchichi and prepared to leave the lab. Of course, Muchichi had someone to pick her up. It was always sweet. Unfortunately, Feng Shanshan had to take a ride again. Actually, it was not that she did not have the ability to buy a car. It was just that she did not want to drive it. It was too wasteful. What was worse was that Tang Yan, with his low EQ, directly rode his motorcycle and roared past her. He really roared past her. Chapter 546. That night, when Muchichi and Sheng Xiao returned home, Mama Sheng quickly welcomed them home. Aren't you going to rest after registering your marriage? You'll be busy when you get back to Jianchuan. Mom, we're not tired, Muchichi quickly said. Sheng Xiao, you're a husband now. You should think more about Xiaoqi. You can't be as willful as before. Sheng Xiao did not say anything. He just frowned slightly. Muchichi quickly spoke up for Sheng Xiao. Mom, Xiao Xiao has changed a lot in the past 6 months. He has the charm of a mature man now. Mama Sheng looked at her son, and then at Muchichi. It's all your credit. You've changed Sheng Xiao. All right, Mom. Cheer is tired. Let's go back to our room. Wait. Huang Yao is in such a state now. That old man will definitely want to get you back. You can't help Huang Yao. Think about how your father was almost burned to death in Jingting. I'll never forgive that old man for the rest of my life. It's not our place to interfere in this matter. With that, Sheng Xiao brought Muchichi upstairs to their room. But what did you say to that old man in the afternoon? Muchichi could not help but ask. Is he trying to use you again? It seems that he has realized it. I just don't know if he's sincere or not. Sheng Xiao put down his luggage and pushed Muchichi to the bathroom. Take a shower first. Would he be so kind? Muchichi mumbled as she took off her clothes. Before entering the bathroom, she leaned against the door and asked Sheng Xiao, Aren't you coming with me? Who am I to you? Why should I come with you? We're already an old couple. Still playing this game. With that, Muchichi walked to Sheng Xiao and grabbed his collar. Sheng Xiao chuckled and carried Muchichi in his arms. Where did this old couple come from? We're just newlyweds. The next morning, Grandpa Sheng went out with his butler as usual. It seemed that he was meeting up with a friend. Gu Xiling was not suspicious. She did not dare to act rashly in front of Grandpa Sheng. After all, it was the first time Grandpa Sheng touched her yesterday. Thinking about it, she and Sheng Kai were indeed a little too radical. Grandpa Sheng was just suffering from a minor illness, but they were already guarding against everyone in the family. They even let Grandpa Sheng see through their intentions. It was really not worth it. Now that Sheng Kai was in such a situation, the loss outweighed the gain. If Sheng Kai could not handle the cooperation with Tiffany and Company, he would most likely lose his position as CEO. Now it was old Master Shun's turn to guard against second brother and his wife. After arriving at the agreed location, the old man went straight to meet his private lawyer. He said to the lawyer, "I want to change my will. Are you ready?" "Chairman, just say it." The lawyer was ready. "What I want to change is the distribution of shares. Sheng Xiao will take 30% of the shares under my name, and the other 6 grandchildren will share the remaining 70%. The lawyer was stunned. "It's Sheng Xiao, 8th young master. Are you sure?" "I'm sure." Old Master Sheng nodded. "At first, I didn't want to give you a single cent, but I'm getting older and my heart softens. Why did you make such an adjustment?" The lawyer could not understand, because he felt that Sheng Xiao had hurt Grandpa Sheng a lot in the past. There are many descendants in the Sheng family, but they are all mediocre. Second brother is the only one who is decent. But in just half a year, he has grown a lot of ambition. This grandson is not easy to control. If he really takes over the power, he will not treat the others in the Sheng family well in the future. Third brother is loyal and tolerant, but he is not the material to manage the company. He can be an assistant, but he does not have the talent to be an emperor. Thinking about it, only 8th brother is more capable than others and can stabilize the Sheng family. After I woke up from my coma that day, I suddenly had a great feeling. Maybe one day, I will fall down like this again and won't be able to get up again. However, I can't leave such a big mess behind. Otherwise, when the time comes, the brothers will fight to the death again. The lawyer nodded. But 8th young master has Zhongting now. Will he still be willing to take over Huang Yao? You don't think he will, right? Grandpa Sheng smiled. But I don't think he will just stand by and watch. Now I can understand 8th brother a little. He only looks ruthless and decisive, but he is still soft. Then, what is the chairman going to do with the will? There are 3 wills. One is in my hands, one is in your hands, and the last one will be given to 8th brother. But don't let him open it now. Chairman, you are afraid. Second brother and his wife are so selfish. I am afraid that they will have other ideas when the time comes, said Grandpa Sheng. Old Sheng replied, some things can only be understood in the end. I was too stubborn in the past. After hearing the old man's words, the lawyer nodded. I'll prepare the notarization. Sheng Xiao might not care about the 30% of the shares, but he would never let second brother's conspiracy succeed. What if second brother and his wife made things difficult for third brother after he left? 8th brother still had a reason and an excuse to intervene. That family was led astray by his eagerness for quick success. Now he just wanted the Sheng family to return to peace. On the other hand, in Europe, with Gu Xiling's reminder, Sheng Kai finally contacted the eldest young master of the Tiffany family. The eldest young master thought that it was Sheng Bowen, so he invited Sheng Kai to his manor. Sheng Kai thought that he had a chance to turn things around, so he relaxed a lot. But when he arrived at the manor, the eldest young master was stunned. Because the person who came was not Sheng Bowen. Sheng Kai saw that the eldest young master's expression was not right, so he quickly reached out to him. But the eldest young master said to him, I know you. The person I want to see is your brother. Sheng Kai's face darkened. He said in perfect English, my brother did not come. He asked me to come and see you. Impossible. You are in cahoots with my brother. If you did not support my brother, he would not have won the position of the CEO of Tiffany and Company. You are the one who helped him. How dare you come to my house? The eldest young master of Tiffany and Co. glared at Sheng Kai. I know why you are here, but I will not give you an answer without seeing Bowen. Sheng Kai felt even worse when he heard this. Bowen is not qualified to represent Huang Yao. Chapter 547. The other party's attitude was very firm, so Sheng Kai could not force him. However, he now knew one very important thing, and that was whether he could successfully overcome this difficulty this time depended on Sheng Bowen. But would Sheng Bowen help him unconditionally? Now the board of directors had a lot of opinions about him. If he could not successfully handle this project, he could forget about being the CEO of Huang Yao. However, if he let third brother take the credit, it would be disadvantageous to his position as the CEO. So, he could only think of a way to get the best of both worlds. Fortunately, he still had a plan. Perhaps this incident was not only a crisis for him, but also a turning point for him. The Criminal Police Bureau was currently screening the major suspects who had the characteristics that Tang Yen had mentioned earlier. Actually, there was one. It was the cousin of the deceased's two brothers. He was about 38 years old, and his name was Liao Xing. He lived a hard life and relied on recycling to support his family. After receiving the information, the team immediately arrested the man and interrogated him. The members of the criminal investigation team all thought that the case would be solved soon. However, when Tang Yen observed Liao Xing carefully, he felt that something was not right. Liao Xing, explain yourself. Why did you appear at the crime scene? Liao Xing thought for a moment and answered the police. Before the two brothers died, they called me and asked me to go over to collect the trash. Who knew that when I went over, all four of them were dead? I wasn't sure if they were still breathing, so I looked at them one by one. Later, I found a place to call the police, and that police call was made by me. I don't have a cell phone, so I used a public phone. That was why Liao Xing's footprints and blood were left at the crime scene. Can anyone prove it? You can ask my wife. There is a call record on the landline at home. This person is not the murderer. The police came to this conclusion after interrogating Liao Xing. It seems that the murderer did not only create the illusion that the deceased committed suicide to escape punishment, but also implicated another person. That person is Liao Xing, the professor said to Tang Yen. So, you are going in the wrong direction. Wait. Even if Liao Xing entered the crime scene, there should be two footprints. But why did Liao Xing only have footprints of entering and not coming out? Tang Yen brought up the key information. It seems that I have to interrogate Liao Xing again. Soon, Mu Qiqi and Feng Shanshan arrived at the forensics lab. After knowing that the police had gained so much in one day, they quickly understood the case. Moreover, Mu Qiqi offered her own opinion. I feel like we've overlooked a very important piece of information. The hotel itself is being renovated. Why is it being renovated? Is it related to that? It's said that it's related to gambling and that white stuff, the police replied. If it involves these two things, does the hotel have any special services, such as secret doors or escape routes that others don't know about? After listening to Mu Qiqi's words, Feng Shanshan stared at her. You know this too? I really couldn't tell that you're such a rich young lady. I've seen a lot of cases, but that's just my guess. Besides, this murderer also knows Liao Xing, so he must be someone familiar with the four victims. I think if the hotel really has these facilities, then the murderer knows about them and uses them to deceive others. I'll ask the team to visit the neighbors and carefully check every corner of the hotel, the captain of the criminal investigation team said. As for Liao Xing's side, I'll inform everyone as soon as there's a result. This murderer is not only vicious but also smart. Of course, Qiqi, you're smarter than him. The captain of the criminal investigation team praised her. Alright, it's getting late. You and Shanshan should go back and rest. Aren't you a student? Don't delay your studies. I won't be responsible if you fail. More importantly, your family's car has been parked at the entrance for a while. Mu Qiqi looked out of the door and blushed. Then I'll leave first. When the professor saw Mu Qiqi leaving, he leaned on Tang Yan's shoulder. Send Shanshan home. I still have some doubts. I want to stay here. Tang Yan refused without thinking. The whites of the professor's eyes almost rolled to the sky. Won't you be able to solve your doubts if you send her home? If I were your mother, I would be very worried. How are you going to find a girlfriend like this? Tang Yin turned around and looked at Feng Shanshan. But Feng Shanshan did not count on him. She walked out of the police station and planned to exercise again. However, the weather was bad tonight. It was not safe for a girl to be out alone. So Tang Yin did not hesitate. He went straight to the parking lot and drove his off-road vehicle out. Feng Shanshan did not expect Tang Yin to catch up with her. She was obviously dismissive. I don't want to trouble you, Officer Tang. Come on. Don't waste each other's time. I can go home myself. Feng Shanshan was very stubborn. She did not want to have anything to do with Tang Yin. But at this moment, Tang Yin suddenly stopped the car and got out of the car at lightning speed. He carried Feng Shanshan on his shoulder and threw her on the passenger seat of the off-road vehicle. Being stubborn is not a woman's strength. Feng Shanshan rolled her eyes. Officer Tang, do you know how many times I've rolled my eyes at the sky after you came? Just don't do it in front of me. Feng Shanshan was speechless. Actually, Officer Tang, you really don't have to force yourself. I'm not forcing myself. It's nothing. Feng Shanshan was angry. She decided to stop talking, but Tang Yin did not start the car either. They stared at each other. After a while, Feng Shanshan said, Are you planning to spend the new year here? If you don't tell me the address, I can only drive to my house. Feng Shanshan felt that she must have been influenced by people with low EQ for too long. Otherwise, why would she be so stupid with Tang Yin? Then, Feng Shanshan told him the address and closed her eyes to rest. She did not think that she would have the time to argue with this idiot after a long day. Actually, Mu Qiqi and Sheng Zhao's car was behind them. Mu Qiqi saw with her own eyes that Tang Yin carried Feng Shanshan on his shoulder. These two obviously have a chance. But Officer Tang's EQ is really too low. Chapter 548. I'm innocent. After all, I'm only looking at this matter as the Moon Elder. Mu Qiqi quickly raised her hand and swore. Feng Shanshan used to be annoying, but after you get to know her, you realize that she's not that bad. No, it's that she's so bad that you can't hate her at all. If she dares to lead you astray, I'll cripple her too. Mu Qiqi couldn't help but laugh. She leaned on Sheng Zhao's chest and asked, But why do I feel that I'm bad enough? After all, I've turned my uncle into my husband. Sheng Zhao hugged the threatening little thing. He really wanted to pin her down on the bed and teach her a lesson. Of course, when the time was right, Sheng Zhao would take the initiative to find out what kind of murder cases had happened in the police station. Because his mind would calculate if those cases would affect Mu Qiqi's safety. As for tracking down the criminals, that was his little thing's interest. The next afternoon, Sheng Kai suddenly returned to Jianchuan after going to Europe. He requested for a temporary board meeting and asked Grandpa Sheng and third brother to attend. He said that he had found a way to solve the Tiffany and Company's crime. Grandpa Sheng didn't know what trick he was playing now. Before he went to Huang Yao's board meeting, he asked his lawyer to send a copy of the will to Sheng Zhao. However, Sheng Zhao frowned when he received the document. But Grandpa Sheng's lawyer told him, I hope that 8th young master can keep this document safe. You don't have to open it now. It might be of great use at a critical moment. All right, go back and report, Sheng Zhao said to the lawyer. Then I'll leave first. You go ahead. As smart as Sheng Zhao was, how could he not know what was in the document? That would be underestimating him. Grandpa Sheng was extremely distrustful of second brother now. So, he gave this to Sheng Zhao in the hope that he could stabilize the Sheng family. That old thing was clearly going to live to 100 years old. Still, it was a blessing for third brother to have this document in his hand. He used to think that Sheng Bowen's character was not suitable for business or investment. But now that he thought about it, his generous character might be useful. Soon, the group rushed to the conference room of Huang Yao. At that moment, Grandpa Sheng and third brother had no idea what Sheng Kai was up to. The only thing they knew was that it was definitely not something good. At 4 o'clock in the afternoon, Huang Yao's interim shareholders meeting was held smoothly. On the other hand, Sheng Kai, who had just returned from abroad, was not as anxious as when he left. He looked at the company's shareholders, Grandpa Sheng and Sheng Bowen. Chief Sheng, I wonder if your promise of a week still counts. Also, what progress have you made in the past? Don't keep me guessing anymore. Of course, if I didn't go there, I wouldn't have known that my good third brother has always been in close contact with the Tiffany family. So, I think it won't be a problem for Huang Yao and Tiffany to continue working together. What do you think, third brother? Sheng Bowen felt uncomfortable when he was called out. What did she mean by he was close to the Tiffany family? Don't you think it's too much to fight for power with me? Sheng Bowen did not understand why Sheng Kai was blamed on him. How am I too much? It's been a few days since it happened. Since you have such a deep relationship with the eldest young master of Tiffany and Company, why did you watch me being put in a difficult position by the board of directors? Why didn't you help me to stabilize the situation in Huang Yao? Can't everyone understand what you are trying to do? You just want to see the board of directors fire me. Then, you will immediately come up with a solution to the problem and win the support of the board of directors. What do you think? Am I right? After hearing Sheng Kai's words, Sheng Bowen finally understood his second brother's intentions. He had gone to the eldest young master of Tiffany and Company, so he came back to make a scene. I have always been against you working with Tiffany and Company. How many times have we quarreled publicly and privately? Is it my fault that you insist on expanding the investment? I know there is a problem with Tiffany and Company. That's why I built a good relationship with the eldest young master of Tiffany and Company. This is to prevent Huang Yao from falling into such a problem. I am just a deputy CEO. What right and identity do I have to go against you? I just hope that if Huang Yao is really in danger one day, there might be a way out. A way out? Sheng Kai sneered. If it is as you said, why is the other party unwilling to see me? Moreover, if you are really so kind, why didn't you stand up and explain the matter when it happened? That's because I am not confident that I can convince the eldest young master of Tiffany and Company. I am not like you. I will not make empty promises if I can't do it. The reason why the other party is unwilling to see you is that when he and his brother were fighting for the position of the chairman, your cooperation helped his brother to win. Why would he want to see you? Hearing the quarrel between the two brothers, the shareholders finally understood what was going on. It turned out that the key to solving all this was Sheng Bowen. However, the two brothers were suspicious of each other. You are saying it in hindsight. That sounds nice. Anyway, Sheng Kai just wanted to make himself look dignified. If he was not wrong in anything, then he was right. Sheng Bowen took a deep breath. He really could not be bothered to talk to him. At this time, Grandpa Sheng, who had been silent for a long time, said, Sheng Kai stubbornly made a false risk assessment report. The root cause is him. Of course, I encouraged him. So, I am also at fault. That day, when I fainted at the board meeting, it was third brother who took care of me in the hospital. He immediately told me about the eldest young master of Tiffany and Company. He had a way to save Huang Yao at the critical moment. Before this, the two brothers were quarreling at home. The third brother wanted the second brother to withdraw his investment, but the second brother refused to do so no matter what. Of course, I gave the power to second brother. I convinced myself to believe in second brother's judgment. So, I sided with second brother and overruled third brother again and again. But I did not expect things to develop like this. There's nothing we can do about third bro, so we secretly set up a connection. And in the 2 days he was in the hospital, he was also contacting the eldest young master of Tiffany and Company. But the eldest young master was worried about the hatred between him and second brother, so he did not give in. Now that second brother has returned to the country, he could not think of any solution. Instead, he started to attack third brother who had worked so hard. You are not just letting down the trust of the board of directors. Chapter 549. Sheng Kai looked at Grandpa Sheng in disbelief. Grandpa, you were the one who agreed to the Tiffany and Company project. Now that there is a problem, how can you blame it on me alone? Isn't it more important to get through this hurdle as soon as possible? I know you resent me for not being by your side to take care of you these 2 days. It was third brother who was taking care of you. But if I was by your side, who would know about the situation in Europe? You always have a lot of reasons. Grandpa Sheng stomped on the ground with his walking stick. Also, I don't resent you. I'm not on third brother's side because he took care of me. It's just that I've suddenly seen through many things. Grandpa. Third brother. Go to Europe immediately and look for the eldest young master of the Tiffany family. See if there is any way to salvage this matter. As for second brother, if the shareholders think that he is no longer suitable to be the CEO of Huang Yao, then you can express your opinion. Grandpa Sheng said calmly. Grandpa, you can't be so cruel to me. It's not fair. You're the one who caused this. Now third brother is cleaning up your mess. You should understand this. Grandpa Sheng waved his hand to stop Sheng Kai from continuing. Everything depends on the decision of the board of directors. I suggest that we suspend CEO Sheng and let the deputy CEO take over temporarily. Let's see how capable third young master is before making a decision. I agree. The shareholders scrambled to express their opinions. Have you forgotten the progress I brought to Huang Yao in the first half of the year? It's just a mistake. Is it necessary for you to hold on to it? Sheng Kai was furious. He slammed the table and questioned the shareholders. Why don't you think about it? When Sheng Xiao left, he left such a big mess. If I didn't clean it up, would Huang Yao be where it is now? Now you doubt my ability just because of a contract worth 10 billion? Isn't this too funny? The shareholders knew Sheng Kai's ability, but they also knew his ambition. Indeed, we have seen your contribution to Huang Yao in the first half of the year. But in the last 2 months, haven't you noticed the changes in yourself? You always get rid of dissidents. You should know very well how many times you have caused trouble for third young master in the dark. Not only do we need an outstanding leader, but we also hope that the person who leads us forward has a big heart. If you want to dismiss me, just say so. There's no need to come up with so many excuses. Sheng Kai sneered. Third brother, what do you think? Sheng Kai thought that third brother would admit that he did not have the talent and withdraw from the competition. But Sheng Bowen said directly, Grandpa, I don't need to go abroad because Charney is preparing to visit Jianchuan. As an outstanding entrepreneur, he will try his best to discuss this matter with Huang Yao without any personal grudges. When was it confirmed? Just now. Sheng Bowen took out his phone and showed the message to Grandpa Sheng. As for the position of president and vice president, we'll talk about it after this matter is resolved. What he meant was that he did not refuse. He was just afraid that Sheng Kai would do something if he took over the position now. He did not want to be plotted against by Sheng Kai before he even became the CEO. Well done, third brother. You ganged up to bully others. Not bad. Having said that, Sheng Kai walked out of Huang Yao's office. Third brother, you can handle the rest. I don't care. It's all right, third young master. We will try our best to help you. The shareholders immediately said. Well, if that's the case, we'll talk when Charney arrives at Jianchuan. Sheng Bowen said to the shareholders. Let me say this first. Since this matter has come to this, I am not confident that I can turn things around. I can only say that I will try my best, but I dare not say that I will be absolutely sure. Just do your best. Grandpa Sheng said to third brother. If that's the case, everyone is dismissed. The shareholders nodded and left the meeting room one after another. However, Grandpa Sheng did not move. Instead, he looked at third brother. You were not interested in these things before. Why do you want to go against your second brother now? To be honest, Grandpa, fighting for power has never been my hobby. However, Xiao Ran and I also want to live a normal life. During this period of time, you have seen how second brother and his wife have been suppressing us. I have no intention to fight with him, but he doesn't seem to think so. He thinks that my existence is a great threat to him. Apart from me being the reason, he also thinks that I am colluding with eighth brother. I can drag him down from the position of CEO at any time. I don't want to let him down anymore. Grandpa Sheng patted third brother's shoulder. Since you want to do it, then do it. You are different from second brother and eighth brother. You are born to be more merciful. That's why I didn't think highly of you before. The business world is like a battlefield. That's why I always have eighth brother in my heart. Because he can attack and defend at the same time. But I don't think I should underestimate you. Do it well. Third brother nodded. It was rare for him and Grandpa Sheng to have a peaceful conversation like this. In the past, Grandpa Sheng would explode whenever he mentioned Sheng Xiao. Now it was obvious that he had overcome that hurdle in his heart. Because he knew that if he continued to be the same as before, Huang Yao would definitely continue to have internal conflicts. There would be countless scenes of brothers killing each other. But second brother, you don't have to worry about it. I will handle it. Grandpa Sheng said to third brother. He did not even need to think about how Sheng Kai would react. If he succeeded and won, he would constantly remind himself that he must not let Sheng Xiao take away all the credit. But if he failed and suffered a setback, he would always blame Sheng Xiao. Why did Sheng Xiao leave this mess to him? Why did Sheng Xiao have to make him suffer so much? Although he had been very successful in the past 8 to 9 months, he had also become more selfish. Of course, Gu Ziling's contribution was also part of it. Soon Zhongting's office received the news. Sheng Kai has been temporarily dismissed by the board of directors. The news has spread. Sheng Xiao did not raise his head when he heard Su Chei's words. He only said, "It will happen sooner or later. Even if it is not because of the Tiffany and Company's cooperation, he will be dismissed for other reasons. But it has been more than half a year. His arrogance have been triggered. He will not let it go just like that. But isn't it very dangerous for him to be with third young master?" Chapter 550. When Sheng Kai came home in the middle of the afternoon, Gu Ziling knew that he did not have a good time at the board meeting. But she did not expect that the board of directors would suspend him. And Grandpa Sheng, who had always been on his side, did not stand on his side this time. Perhaps it was because of the incident when Grandpa Sheng was hospitalized 2 days ago. They had exposed too much in front of Grandpa Sheng, which made him feel disgusted. And it was only a matter of time before people's hearts turned against each other. Gu Ziling saw that Sheng Kai stayed in his study the moment he came home, so she let him calm down. But she could still hear the sound of something smashing in the study from time to time. How useless! He was being bullied by others, but he could not fight back at all. Later, Grandpa Sheng and Sheng Bowen came home together. They saw Gu Ziling in the living room. When their eyes met, Gu Ziling did not avoid them. She calmed herself down. Grandpa and third brother are back. Where is second brother? He is in the study, Gu Ziling answered. Maybe he is in a bad mood. He will be fine when he thinks it through. In that case, you should stay at home and accompany him for the time being. He does not need to interfere with the company's affairs for the time being. Having said that, Grandpa Sheng turned to Sheng Bowen. Come to my study. Yes, Grandpa. Gu Ziling knew that the old thing could turn hostile faster than flipping a page, which was why there was no need to be calculative with him now. When the power of Huang Yao was completely in her and her husband's hands, she would come and settle the scores with the Sheng family one by one. It was dinner time. Sheng Kai did not come out for dinner. Gu Ziling was facing everyone in the Sheng family alone. Unexpectedly, Hu Ran's stepmother called her at that moment. Sorry, I need to take a call. Gu Ziling took her phone and went to the garden. Then she heard the woman's voice. Ziling, are you free these days? Can we meet for a chat? Mrs. Hu, do you have something to share? We will know when we meet. I heard that you and second young master are not in a good situation in the Sheng family recently. We are friends. Of course, I have to help you. See you tomorrow, Gu Ziling replied. Now, no matter what, she had to think of a way to separate third brother and his wife. Otherwise, with the Hu family supporting third brother, wouldn't he have to be above Sheng Kai in the future? After dinner in the bridal chamber, Hu Ran looked at Sheng Bowen, who had just finished washing up. She patted the seat beside her and said to him, Third brother, now that you are in power, second brother and second sister-in-law will definitely see you as a thorn in their side. Do you have any way to deal with it? Sheng Bowen looked at her and shook his head. Grandpa said that this is the difference between me and eighth brother. If it were eighth brother, he would definitely be able to guess what the other party would plan and take precautions. But I can't. I can only take one step at a time. Hu Ran knew that he was a straightforward person, so she also laughed. You, perhaps a foolish person, has a foolish fortune. You may be in a lot of danger if you follow me, Sheng Bowen said helplessly. But don't be afraid. I will do my best to protect you. Yes, I'm not afraid. Hu Ran nodded. Go to sleep. From tomorrow onwards, you will be busier. Banyan Courtyard. This was the name that Mama Sheng gave to Mu Qiqi and Sheng Xiao on the day they registered. At this moment, Mu Qiqi dragged her tired body into the house. She saw Sheng Xiao sitting on the sofa, working while waiting for her. She squinted her eyes and lay on Sheng Xiao's lap shamelessly. Hubby. Sheng Xiao lowered his head and looked at the person on his lap. He laughed mockingly. If you need my help, just say it. Help me find an expert who is as skilled as Su Che, Mu Qiqi said with her big eyes. What are you going to do tomorrow? The police found the basement of the hotel. Shan Shan and I will go down tomorrow. But we don't know what dangers there are down there. Sheng Xiao turned Mu Qiqi's body over and gave her a good spanking. Just report it. You don't have to be so cunning. I'm just afraid that you won't let me go down. Look at how self-aware I am. I can't wait until something happens before I report to you. The man who just went to your team is as skilled as Su Che. Really? National martial arts champion, kickboxing champion. It turned out that this man had already done his research. Then I'm not worried. Sheng Xiao looked at the back of Mu Qiqi's head. The little one was not worried about herself. She was just afraid that Sheng Xiao would not agree. I'll give you a day of investigation on Saturday. I've arranged for you to learn self-defense during the weekend. You have to learn how to escape no matter how many experts there are around you. Got it? Mu Qiqi felt at ease after being hit. She climbed up from Sheng Xiao's lap and continued dragging her heavy body upstairs to the bedroom. Sheng Xiao put away the documents and looked at the little one, the corners of his lips curling up. It was a good thing that she knew to report to him. After their shower, they lay on their respective beds. Mu Qiqi could barely keep her eyes open, but she still asked Sheng Xiao, how's third brother? Just sleep if you're tired. Don't talk so much. Sheng Xiao pressed her head against his chest. No, I want to know. I want to know everything about you and your family. Otherwise, I won't be able to keep up with your family's conversation. Mu Qiqi's voice gradually softened. Sheng Xiao smiled when he saw that she had fallen asleep. Even if I tell you now, you would still forget it tomorrow. Mu Qiqi slept soundly in his warm embrace until dawn. Early next morning, Mu Qiqi received a call from the professor. The police had found a passageway to the basement last night, and it turned out that there was a huge underground casino hidden in the entire hotel. There was a sturdy iron door down the passageway. It was locked and covered in dust, as if no one had gone in for a long time. Even so, there was a foul stench coming from inside. It was clearly the stench of a corpse. And it was not just any other kind of stench. The additional police arrived at the scene early in the morning. The police unlocked the door, but they could not find where the corpse was hidden. That was why the captain informed the forensics team to be in position immediately. The professor led Mu Qiqi and Feng Shanshan into the spacious basement. The entire place was half the size of the hotel lobby, but there was only one window and a bar counter. There were 4 stone pillars in the middle of the room, and there was a washroom on the left. The entire place was filled with the stench of corpses, but no one could find where the corpse was hidden. Mu Qiqi turned her gaze towards the washroom where the stench was thickest. Both the professor and Feng Shanshan noticed it too. Chapter 551. The bathroom was very simple. There was a sink, a squatting toilet, and a shower. The body is inside. Tang Yin glanced at it and turned to the professor. It's time for you forensic doctors to take action. The bathroom was not big and could only accommodate about 3 people. The professor brought Mu Qiqi and Feng Shanshan into the shower. The body was highly decomposed, and the giant appearance had begun to fade. The body was curled up in the shower in a sideways position. Obviously, someone put it in after the death. The deceased is a male between 60 and 65 years old. There are obvious strangulation marks on his neck and visible damage on his body. There are clothes fibers or skin flakes under his fingernails. There are no other injuries on other parts of his body. After eliminating the possibility of poisoning, we can basically confirm that he was strangled to death. I didn't expect that there would be another case involved. But it doesn't seem difficult to investigate. The secret passage in the bathroom above the hotel leads directly to the underground casino. The murderer knows this place and may have hidden here. But when did he leave in the end? Feng Shanshan raised a question. But soon they began to feel numb. Because in order not to leave his own footprints, the murderer must have waited for the police to come before leaving. Because everyone thought that the murderer would leave his footprints before leaving. But no one would have thought that he would hide in this basement and wait for the police to leave before leaving. Now that there were so many police officers entering the hotel every day, how could they find the murderer's tracks? He's too cunning. Let's find the murderer first. There is evidence left under the victim's fingernails. It should not be difficult to investigate. Maybe there is a connection between the two cases. The professor stood up and said to everyone, "Let's go back and test it first." "I have a bold idea," Mu Chichi said to the professor. At this time, Tang Yin also said to everyone, "Compare the DNA of these skin flakes with the 4 victims above." That's right. Mu Chichi had the same idea. If it was really as they expected, then it was very likely that it was a vendetta. Then the murderer must be related to the victims. Okay. If that's the case, let's act quickly. Now that they had a breakthrough, everyone was pumped up. The police were confirming the identity of the deceased. But at this time, Tang Yin had a new question. Since there is no exit in the basement, and he could only hide, how did Liao Xing get out? Everyone seemed to have fallen into this mystery. He said that after he saw the bodies, he was knocked unconscious. When he woke up, he was already outside. Our colleagues have also examined him. There is indeed a wound on his head. No, there is something wrong with his logic. Before we came in, the murderer was hiding in the basement. If Liao Xing was knocked out by the murderer, he would have been sent away immediately. It is impossible that we did not find the murderer's tracks. But if Liao Xing waited for us to arrive before he was sent out by the murderer, who called the police? This doesn't make sense at all. So he must be lying. You have to retry him. Previously, we ruled out Liao Xing as a suspect because we thought there was an exit in the basement and both he and the murderer could leave. However, since there is no exit in the basement, he must be lying. After Tang Yin finished speaking, the results of the DNA comparison were out. This skin tissue belongs to the elder brother, Liao Sheng. You've guessed correctly. However, there's something even more shocking. This deceased is Liao Xing's biological father, who is also the biological uncle of the deceased brothers. In that case, was there still a need to continue investigating? The result was obvious. Because there was substantial evidence, Liao Xing confessed in the end. But what was different from the police's speculation was that he did not kill the 4 people to avenge his father, because he did not know that his father had died in the basement. He had killed those 4 people because the 2 brothers had taken pity on him every day and allowed him to come over to earn tips. However, they had humiliated him, mocked him, and even called him incomparably ugly, neither human nor ghost. Liao Xing had long wanted to kill them. He had imagined it thousands of times in his heart. That morning, the 2 brothers asked Liao Xing to go and earn tips again. But Liao Xing took the opportunity to meet his wife. When Liao Xing found out about it, he could not hold it in anymore. So he put the plan on the agenda. In the evening, he carried an axe and killed the 2 men. After that, he hid in the basement and only left after the police left. And the so-called call to the police was made by someone else. He lied that it was him to eliminate his suspicion. Do you know that your father died in the basement? The murderer is Liao Sheng. Liao Xing was shocked at first, but then he laughed. This is retribution. This is what the 2 brothers deserve. Liao Xing, you will eventually be punished by the law. This is at most a crime of passion. If I had more time, I would definitely be able to make it so that the police will not find any traces. But the 2 brothers are really hateful. I can't help it. Mu Qiqi and Feng Shanshan felt bad when they saw the murderer's ferocious side. That's why I said that the living are the scariest. The case is solved. I'll treat everyone to afternoon tea. The captain of the criminal investigation team said to everyone. But Tang Yin did not fit in. You guys go ahead. I don't need it. Boring soul. Feng Shanshan could not help but say to Tang Yin with her back facing him. That's not it. He is going to help me make something in the afternoon. The professor said to Feng Shanshan. You guys go ahead. I won't go. Mu Qiqi looked at Tang Yan's back as he left. She could not help but lean on Feng Shanshan's shoulder. Actually, he is quite capable. Moreover, the one in my family said that he is the national martial arts champion and kickboxing champion. But his EQ is so low. Feng Shanshan shook her head. I really suspect that this kind of person will never get married. Even if he does get married, there must be something wrong with his wife. If you don't care about him, why did you say so much? Mu Qiqi said and turned her face. Besides, you have talked so much about him behind his back. Isn't it enough? Not far away from them, the professor smiled helplessly and said to Tang Yin, Can't you be a little gentler to girls? When will I see you with a girlfriend? I think women are troublesome, especially Feng Shanshan. Why her? She has a lot of demands. Tang Yin said coldly, and turned to enter the forensics laboratory. Chapter 552. In the afternoon, Gu Xiling and Hu Rant's stepmother agreed to meet at a cafe. When they saw each other's eyes, they knew that they were going to work together again. You called me. What's the matter? Tell me. I found out that Hu Ran, that little bitch, has extended her claws into the entertainment industry. My friend told me that she and your third young master are investigating me. Are they tired of living? I think Hu Ran is tired of living. How do you want to deal with her? Gu Xiling asked Mrs. Hu. Don't forget that she has regained her sanity. She is not so easy to deceive. That girl is like a basin of clear water. She has never been stirred. How would she know how deep the water in the entertainment industry is? I can ask my friend to help me teach her a lesson. I could have done it alone, but I thought of the situation you and second young master are in now. So, I want to ask you if there is anything I can help you with. Gu Xiling laughed when she heard this. Of course. The eldest young master of Tiffany and Company is coming, and third young master is going to meet him. If you can control Hu Ran, you can control third young master. Then, he will not be able to cooperate with Tiffany and Company anymore. Mrs. Hu, I will be very grateful if you can give me such a big gift. What are you talking about? Mrs. Hu said. Give me an exact time so that I can arrange it. No problem. I will contact you again when I go back. Now the group of old guys in Huang Yao had placed all their hopes on Sheng Bowen. Well, in that case, she would make Sheng Bowen look bad. She wanted to see if Sheng Bowen could still remain indifferent when he found out that something had happened to Hu Ran. Gu Xiling thought that Sheng Bowen would not be able to turn the situation around. But unexpectedly, Hu Ran's stepmother appeared. Man proposes, God disposes. At the police station, they had just sat down to drink tea when they received another call. This time, it involved a female star in the entertainment industry. Qiqi and Shanshan are here. It will be convenient for me to bring you out. When the captain of the criminal investigation team heard this, he immediately laughed. I think the two of you shouldn't go to university. Just stay here and help your professors. This way, it will be faster than going to any university. You're talking nonsense again. You should know what Qiqi's family does. A diploma is equally important to her. The professor waved his hand. Besides, they should have a wider sky. What's the matter with me? The group of people chatted and laughed as they went out again. Tang Yin rode his motorcycle and followed behind. In Mu Qiqi's eyes, Tang Yan's motorcycle was quite flashy. It did not match his temperament at all. Soon the group arrived at the crime scene, the Dolphin Bay Villa. The deceased was the owner of this villa. She was also a senior actress in the entertainment industry. Her name was Shen Qing. The deceased died at the top of the stairs on the first floor. There were many soft tissue contusions on his body, which should have been caused when he rolled down the stairs. However, the specific cause of death can only be known after your forensic examination. The policeman who had arrived earlier said to the professor and the others. The dead body was discovered by the assistant. There was no shooting this morning, and Shunqing was resting at home, so the assistant didn't disturb her. However, when it was time to shoot, Shunqing still hadn't appeared. The assistant couldn't get through to her, so she came to look for her. Only then did she realize that she was already dead at home. This should be an accident, right? The professor squatted down and looked at the body. He shook his head. Don't jump to conclusions so early. Why is there so much blood when she rolled down the stairs? Mu Qiqi looked at the bloodstains beside Shunqing's body. I suspect that there is internal bleeding in her abdomen. We can only know this after the autopsy. From the looks of it, the injury from rolling down the stairs is not fatal. Tisk tsk. Such a beautiful actress. It's such a pity that she died just like that. I'm still her fan. A policeman at the side. At this time, the leader of the criminal investigation team began to assign tasks. There was no doubt about the identity of the deceased. Professor, what's the time of her death? Between 1 and 3 o'clock last night, Mu Qiqi answered. The professor smiled and nodded. Yes, that's the time. So, they had to go to the property management to get the surveillance cameras to confirm who entered and left the villa during that period. In addition, they had to start interrogating Shunqing's social relations. You have to be careful. This case involves the entertainment industry, so it will definitely attract a lot of attention. You must be careful of your words and actions. Don't leak it out so that the murderer can get any useful information. Soon the police got the surveillance cameras. From the surveillance cameras, it showed that 3 people appeared in Shunqing's villa between 1 and 3 o'clock in the morning. And one of them was the paparazzi that Hu Ran and Sheng Bowen had been looking for recently. This paparazzi was greedy and had blackmailed many people in the entertainment industry. More importantly, this paparazzi was Hu Ran's stepmother's good friend. And this time, she set up a trap to hire this paparazzi, but she did not expect him to be involved in a murder case. Qiqi, whether it's a rich family or the entertainment industry, I hope that you can help if we really need public relations. I will try my best, Mu Qiqi answered. When they carried the body back to the forensics laboratory, the entrance was full of media. Moreover, Mu Qiqi was a famous person in the first place, so the media naturally surrounded her. Seeing this, Feng Shanshan smiled at her. Your mission is here. Miss Mu, can you tell us if Shunqing is really dead? How did she die? Was it a crime of passion or revenge? Did Huang Fu get someone to do it? Hearing this, Mu Qiqi was confused. Who is Huang Fu? Because of the TV series Love as Deep as the Sea, Huang Fu and Shunqing fought for the female lead role. It must be Huang Fu, right? Mu Qiqi extracted the information and said to them, the police will solve the case as soon as possible. Don't make wild guesses and hurt others. Miss Mu, can you tell us more information? I'm just a forensic doctor. I can't reveal anything related to the case. I'm sorry. Miss Mu. Everyone rushed forward. At this time, Mu Qiqi lost her temper and directly said to the media, you want to see Zhongting's lawyer, right? Everyone quickly took a step back. You just want to see the world in chaos. Soon, the secretary showed the part where Mu Qiqi appeared on the news to Sheng Xiao. Chief Sheng, this is the video of Madam's interview. This thing is more famous than me recently. Sheng Xiao slowly smiled. Find a few suitable people and send it to her when she wants it. You must have experience in stopping the media. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support. And don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.